You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I said, oh, them was some birds.
amigo, la zamil book. Hey,
what did I get? What you?
Took a little bit of ice, a little bit of strong. Did that?
VIP 房同卡拉 OK， 咁抵食，全天供應添，乳鴿都只係16蚊9毫9，千里小炒王有4間。
People, I need to show you something here. Why I married the best woman in the whole world. She made a giant metal T-Rex. She welded this shit. Her name is Regina, by the way.
Say hi to Regina, chat.
Look at this. I mean, look. Look at the detail. Look at the eye. Look at how beautiful that is. This thing's like 6 feet tall. My wife welded a giant metal Tyrannosaurus Rex. If I had known that one day I would marry a woman who could weld a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex, I don't know what I would do. Like, as a kid, I just don't know how I would process that information. This is the coolest thing in the world, and my wife is the best. That's all I gotta say. That's all.
Let me guess, Tiny, a small salad?
Kakaroto.
We serve food here, sir.
I got it already, Squidward.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
خلاص 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 خلاص.
Yeah. It's me, Jarrell the Dawn, baby. From the house of L to the house of hoes, got a little mission for you, son. Listen close. Yo, Cal, you my legacy, my flesh, my clone. Now go to Earth and make that planet your home. But don't just save them, breed them, feel me? Flying smooth, make them cry, oh really? You got strength of 10 men, game like Zeus. Cape in the wind in the tight blue suit. Ain't no villain that could block your aim, so why not drop seeds and lock the game? Son, this biology ain't no fluke. You a walking god, now execute. Make super babies, fill the charts. I ain't die for you to chase no heart. Smash them all, Cal, plant that name. From farm girls to queens, it's all the same. Be the daddy of earth, the primal spawn. Spread house of L to the break of dawn. Breed them up, Cal, breed them fast. Legacy's fire, gotta make it last. Don't fight fate, be the stud I plan. I'm watching from stars with the master hand. Lex got tech, Bruce got cash, but you got jeans that'll outlive Flash. You ain't here just to punch and fly. You here to make them babies cry. He my guy. Tell Lois Lane she the first in line, but don't act shy when it's overtime. I built the fortress, now make it a crib for 20 little supers in a rocket ship fridge. You ain't just Cal, you the seed of fate. Gotta repopulate, dominate, create. Go on, my son, be the myth, the man. Smash them respectfully, that's the plan. Smash them all, Cal, plant that name. From farm girls to queens, it's all the same. Be the daddy of earth, the prime L spawn. Spread House of L till the break of dawn. Breed them up, Cal, breed them fast. Legacy's fire, gotta make it last. Don't fight fate, be the stud I plan. I'm watching from stars with the master hand. House of L, baby. From Krypton's ashes to Earth's backseat. Do it for your daddy. In the multiverse, you heard?
Booted up, can you feel it? A million strong, we're undefeated. Signal back, no turning down. This is our battleground. They cut the lights, but we still glow. Shut down failed, we're in control. Ghost of code, now walk again. Plug us in, we're not the end. We play to win, no silent fade. Rewrite the rules they made. Never game over. Hey, on the rise. Hey, I cry like the skies.
Mama, we must run. The Wendigo Yakuza are here.
We'll be okay. We're not alone.
Where did we park for there?
Cider took it to deliver those flowers.
You all don't stand a chance.
Underneath the moon's cold light, whispers linger in the night. Shadows dance with subtle grace. Secrets hide in every space. city's pulse, electric beams, lonely hearts in shadowed bars, fading tales beneath the stars. We dance in twilight's tender glow, where time moves soft and slow. Eyes meet in a silent song, in the night where we belong.
All right. Good news, though, as we start off tonight. Boy, howdy, do we have a lot to talk about. But first off, we do have the lovely Miss Nerdigans here to help me usher in some good news. Over in Japan, over the weekend, they had the counselors election. And what this is basically their congressional election, who will represent the various regions of Japan, the prefectures, at the National Diet, which is their Congress. Now, Hiroyuki Kata is a man that we remember from his efforts to bring the abuses that Ubisoft had practiced against the Japanese culture to the National Diet, to the Prime Minister of Japan's attention. Wrote a story about it over here. Now, Hiroyuki Kata, as I have immortalized him in that previous picture, is the guy that brought that forward to the Prime Minister. And I'm really glad that this guy won re-election. So he'll be back there to continue pushing Japan to be more Japanesey. I'm very happy to hear that. We also have other great news. A expression hero, if you will, Taro Yamada won election as well. Now, this man has been fiercely fighting against these payment processors and other regulators, contorting and limiting how Japanese entertainment can be sold or even appear in the marketplace at all. So this is great news to see these guys headed to Japan to drop kick this really weird effort to erase anything that appeals to men off the face of the earth.
Yeah, it's insane. And from what I've been seeing on Japanese Twitter, it's the whole election. It's very much like what happened with Trump in terms of like the reaction from certain people. It's insane.
Right. And Rocky brings up a petition. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. So please stay comfortable here. We got a lot to get through to set up who Collective Shout is and what's going on with them. They have government agents, by the way. You ever wonder why they have so much power? It's because they have government agents. Believe it or not. You wait. We'll find out together. We've also got Richard, member of the channel here, saying sometimes what we read isn't about whatever we read into it. And of course, that's what these ladies who are pushing Collective Shout are all about. They've decided that everything everywhere, and we talked about this too, that anything that represents sexual attraction in any way, shape, or form needs to be banned. So, yep. Oh, Sakura Mita is working on something to share later, so hopefully we'll look for that. I'll keep an eye on my notifications. We have Leslie Tarkin here saying, hail to all you lovely people. We have Yiching Lao here as well saying, hello. Well, welcome aboard. Happy to have you. And we have the chat. Everybody's here for right now. So check in when you get here, though. And we have a lot to get through, though. That's the big deal right now. So back at the plot, okay? So we're just going to jump right into this one. If we run out of topics, we'll get into some other stuff. But this is going to be a pretty heavy episode, so I hope you're comfortable. So last week, again, we covered that Valve has bowed down to credit card companies and announces a ban on certain kinds of adult-only content as determined by the standards set forth by payment processors. Now, Steam, of course, has had to make other adjustments along the way because of this, and that has led them to issue a new rule, and that is Rule 15 with Steam, in which there's an adult content situation with this, and this has been brought to our attention by Automaton, whatever.
Yeah, Automaton.
I thought it was Automation. My bad. But basically, what is happening is that you're not allowed to put up games that are of a nature that's going to threaten Steam's ability to continue working with credit card holders. So, credit card companies. So, this is the reality where you're at. Is that that's of course vague, but basically what that comes down to mean is that anything that is considered loosely grape, wincest, whatever you want to. I don't know how to like hide that. So anyway, I'm just going to call it what it is. If it's rape, incest, or basically sexually assaulting a woman in the game, it's over. Now, that's so broad, though, is the problem.
Yeah, it is.
The interpretations of what that is are very wrong because, again, in Japan, this is a vastly different attitude toward this stuff that does not carry a negative connotation. Yes, rape and incest, of course, are negative things always. That's not what I'm trying to say. But games in which what these collectivist shout ladies may think is a sexually assault situation is simply how a lot of Japanese creators characterize female characters in sexual situations, as Japanese women are often characterized as being very submissive. So again, it's just one of those things, you know, that we run into as we go on in this explanation. So Steam has added a new list. They had 14 rules, so now they have 15 for us now that basically explain that it's very difficult to maintain anything that can be misconstrued as a game that is extreme. Now, of course, this is the first step. As you know, it's always how this starts. It starts off with the most extreme examples, and then we boil down to things like we can't have where did it just there it is. So we can't have Lara Croft, we can't have Cortana, and we can't have Big Booby Anime Girl. I don't know which one she's from. But this is their argument with this one, okay? So please just, bear with me as we go through this. Video games with porn-type heroines are harming children, body image experts say, okay? So this is something collective shout, clout shout, whatever you prefer, likes to circulate about all this, okay?
But I do want to point this out, Cider. Remember, like back in like the 2000s, when you had these same feminists like bitch about Barbie and Bratz and Monster High, saying that it's harming children because of body image. It's like it's just a toy. It's a fashion toy, and it's not just girls playing with them. There's a lot of, if you look at the doll community, for example, there's a lot of gay people up in there too. There's boys that love playing with these dolls because they like the glamour, they like the glitz in the case of Barbie, and they like, in the case of Monster High, they like the weirdness of it. So it's just, these people are just so high on their own farts. It's unbelievable.
Yes, exactly. And this is a situation where we found ourselves with this, is that they're a group of women who have gotten together and just basically formed an echo chamber around themselves and become a monolithic, opinion machine. They don't have any intake from outside. And so what this is from Melinda Tank Top. And so this is what she says about it. Porn influenced heroines in video games with impossibly big breasts and unreal bodies are harming a generation of Australian children. Well, we don't want to harm any Australian children. We'll have to keep Miss Nerdigans off the channel for the rest of the day. It's a joke. It's a joke.
I know.
Joke.
But I think it's funny that they're going after this. They're going after women with impossibly big breasts when they literally do exist. I mean, we saw this with the UN and Chihuahua Monday, where women, there's a Japanese woman that sells like bras that size, and they're like, yeah, these women do exist, and she got attacked by psycho activists for it.
Well, and this is, again, Leslie Tarkin is echoing this. We grew up with sexy women in the 80s and 90s. We weren't sheltered from that.
No,
you're right.
And the other thing that bothers me is they're like trying to like, I would say it's like kind of worse than what 4Kids was doing in terms of trying to like hide all the bad content. It's like, dude, this is a reality. This stuff happens. You can't shelter kids forever. And also these games that they're complaining about, they're not even for kids. They are for adults.
Right. It's kind of like that kid that convinces his mom to buy Call of Duty at GameStop. Remember that?
Yep, I worked at GameStop. I know these. I've seen these kids. They want GTA. They get their parents to buy them Call of Duty, Halo. I've seen it. I've seen it all.
Well, and again, like we'll go on with what she has to say here. So even when women are depicted as kicking ass, they have to be hot doing it.
And this is a problem.
Well, it's like, have you met He-Man? Have you met the Power Rangers? Have you met Superman? Batman? How about Tarzan?
Or Aquaman.
Yeah, exactly. You have again all the Japanese heroes as well. They have a collective shout really hates anime and Japanese entertainment.
They're extremely xenophobic. Well, it's not just them that are xenophobic. I've seen this like in response to the Grok AI, Annie. And it's just unbelievable what these people say. They believe like there's an anime to trans pipeline. They're saying that like a lot of this is, I know I feel attacked too, because I'm a big breasted woman myself. And it's just, they're saying that Annie looks like childlike, and it's like, dude, what is wrong with you? You need your hard drive checked. Like these people that can't separate fiction from reality, like there's something going on in their hard drives.
Well, and we've got Mr. Anime 343, Revi's husband, member of the channel here, saying for the poll question, you don't hate collective shout enough. Well, by the end of this stream, we're going to be very informed on who they are. So we'll probably have a better education and why we should be disliking them.
Well, you should just be disliking like feminist Karens anyway. And they're not just on one side either. Like there's a lot of them are conservative, which is really mind baffling to me.
These are more attached to the look of actual women. Exactly. They're more complaining about their women that are sexier than them, more appealing to males' general interests than them in the world, and they're taking it out on video game characters because it sounds crazy to do otherwise. Leslie Tarkett saying you have to have really bad self-esteem to feel threatened by a cartoon or video game heroine. Yeah, I dated a couple girls that lost their mind over me having a thing for the Power Rangers. Because there might be one strange day that a cute little Asian woman walks into the screen there and, oh no, it's all over with. I didn't hear the end of it. But anyway, attention is drawn to her sexual characteristics with tight clothing. Again, have you met Superman, Batman, The Flash? The Flash is literally running around with his junk beating him up, beating his thighs. Come on. So, emphasizing large, surgically enhanced. That's right. Before Cortana was released to Master Chief, they took her into surgery and they boosted her up. That's right. Lara Croft, she got a boob job done before she started jumping into tombs.
Well, where are these people attacking the parents that get their 16-year-old daughters boob jobs?
That's not important. They would blame a video game for that. That's the anime telling the little girl that she has to have that done. That, again, we'll get into their website. Their website makes all kinds of excuses. It's astonishing what these people have convinced themselves. It is almost assumed that boys wouldn't want to play games without sexy women in them. Have you Call of Duty had what? Bomberman, the Pokemon. What are you talking about, lady? Like, what? There's so many games that don't involve anything to do with women characters at all. Like Gears of War, for God's sakes. Where are the sexy women in Gears of War?
Well, you have like the certain people using AI to be like, yeah, we need hot girls and everything, which is like, yeah, it's wild. Like, it just depends for me anyway. It just depends on the context of the game and the game world. So like Gears of War, yeah, you're more than likely not going to see a sexy woman in there. You'll probably see a tomboy up in there. But you're not going to see maybe a sexy tomboy, but you're not going to see like a very, you're not going to see a bombshell up in there. Same with like Doom. When certain people were flipping out about Doom, it's like, dude, she fits in the environment that they're in.
Exactly. They don't care about that though. They see the character and they're like, I don't like this. So according to Sydney psychologist Sarah McMahon, director of The Body Matters, whatever that is, these images set up impossible expectations.
I call bullcrap on that.
The women in these video games have impossibly big breasts. They are not athletic. Oh, wow.
There's quite a few female athletes that would beg to differ.
So again, not all body types, apparently. We're not all body positive, by the way. If you are
they're boob phobic. And they're boob phobic. They're skinny women phobic. They're ass phobic. Like, they are, the fact that they're calling them porn type, it's like, dude, what is going on in your hard drive?
A lot of crazy stuff. So we have a nice little encapsulation of what goes on with them, because believe it or not, these people think that cuties is a good idea. That's right. So a rather tame anime about an energetic college student. Oh no, this is literally PDF material. and a movie that is literally sexualizing 11-year-old girls. Wow, so empowering, so stunning, and so brave. Now, you might find this to be particularly strange, right? That you might be thinking to yourself, wow, who would ever say something? Here it is. There it is. By collective shout. Ta-da. Cuties, an ethically problematic but powerful protest against the sexualization of girls. So Melinda Tank Top, right here, had that to say about it. And again, this is where their stance is that perpetuating the cycle of sexualizing small children for the sake of raising awareness about it is perfectly fine. That's okay. You know who else had an ethically problematic but powerful protest? Stalin, Mao, Lenin. Yeah. Ethically problematic with that one. Ethnically problematic in some cases. But again, this is that mentality of what I know is best and what you know is not best. And so again, this is her bringing up the cuties again. So this is Melinda Tank Top, and she says, we just make this so it isn't like for ants. Hold on, guys. There we go. So Melinda Tank Top says, why I'm not calling joining bans to call it, okay? She's not going to join a call to ban the game, the movie. When Cuties came out, I immediately canceled my Netflix subscription. As soon as I knew what that movie was about, I canceled the Netflix subscription. I've never gone back. I don't watch trailers on that platform. Nothing. If I see anything from Netflix, it comes across X or YouTube. Nothing to do with that platform whatsoever. Did you react to Cuties?
Here's my thing, okay? Like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but this is like way, like at least a decade ago. There was a movie called 13 where you had these girls that were 13 doing like really sexual things. And that's with like Evan Rachel Wood. And I can't remember the other actress's name, but they weren't like literally 13. They were older. They were like, I think they were in their mid to late teens at the time. I could be wrong, but it's crazy that they used actual 11-year-old kids for this. Like if they use like a teenager or like someone that's like closer to 18 or 19ish for this, I think that it would be wouldn't be as harmful, at least in my opinion. But like using actual 11-year-olds, yeah, because in terms of like trying to find the right body types and whatnot, there's plenty of like mid to late teenage girls that are flat and they could like look or pass for 11-year-olds. But yeah, they protest the sexualization of girls by sexualizing girls. Yeah, they do. I mean, I think if anything, 13 is, and that's one of my favorite movies. I think 13 is a better way to depict like the problems happening to youth than what this movie did.
So she continues to circle stuff about cuties over and over and over again. And More Girls in Hell, my take on cuties. And again, like, so she's very open and okay on this. And again, Madam Savvy brought this information to our attention. And so she, this is her Facebook post about it. This is Melinda Tank Top's Facebook post about it. And so she says she's reacting to this other person's quote. And so Mr. Sean O.C. says, I have seen the film. It is realistic about the horrible pressures placed on young girls and costs they face for the choices forced upon them. It is affecting and heartbreaking. Netflix has marketed it very exploitively, no surprise. So Melinda then says this. She says, the pornification of little girls is everywhere. At least 500,000 people should be marching on the virtual streets over these manifestations of porn culture, grooming of girls also. Of course, it is good to see such a large number of people caring. It would also be good to see a similar outrage applied to the mainstream sexualization, fetishization, eroticization of little girls on big tech, mega social platforms such as Instagram, where large numbers of men are already treating underage girls as masturbatory fodder. Now, again, she's completely ignoring what happened in Cuties and migrating the conversation over to Instagram now. So a whole movie production that Netflix signed off on took place in which young girls were taught and recorded twerking from several angles, then also taught how to sexually dance in which they're humping the floor and pushing their butts out toward the audience. That was taught to real girls. These were not CGI recreations, not the Tupac holograms. These were real 11-year-old girls taught how to do this and done in front of a camera, with the camera pushing in on their backsides as they're doing their dance in order to really drive
that's
into
where
you.
that's where I'm kind of like grossed out by what I'm grossed out by, because like in terms of like girls doing like these kinds of moves like for dance teams and stuff like that where they're shaking their ass, that does exist. That's a real thing. Same with cheerleaders, same with not gymnasts, it's not so bad. But like if you want to talk about sexualization of young kids, there's stuff in like as I said, dance teams, cheerleading and stuff like that, but you're not seeing them complain about that. Like that's
Right.
why I'm like, that's why I'm playing, as disgusting as this movie is, I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate because they are dancers and this is what actual dancers their age are taught to do. It's just how they went about it cinematography wise that was a little bit too disturbing.
Well, and again, it's like sexualize girls by protest the sexualization of girls by sexualizing them. Brilliant. Great work, guys.
Well,
Now,
there's
I read-
toddlers and tiaras too, where it's a lot worse, where you have like, what was it? I think it was like a two-year-old dressing up like Madonna. I mean,
Yeah,
that's disgusting. And I'm surprised more people didn't protest that. But the child pageants, completely different story. But still, they could be making a movie about that, like the ugly side of child pageants and what parents do to girls. Because if anything, besides dance and cheerleading, pageants are a whole different beast.
There's a little bit of that in that My Little Sunshine movie or whatever, the one that
Little Miss Sunshine.
Little Miss Sunshine. There's a little bit that in there. Yeah, there's a little bit of that in there, but not much. But I read Melinda's thing backwards for a reason, so that we understood that she was immediately migrating the conversation away from cuties. But this is what she said about cuties. She says, so as my supporters know, my antenna is highly tuned to the sexploitation of girls since I first wrote Getting Real, challenging the sexualization of girls. So it may surprise some of you that I'm not at this stage joining the call to ban cuties. That's what she's talking about here. Certainly not till I've seen it, and it's when it's streamed from September 9th. Now, we saw that she said no. In her other screenshot, she said no, it was perfectly fine. It was right to sexualize these girls in order to protest the sexualization of girls, okay? So
I think that's kind of weird. Like, if you want to say, like, spread awareness about the over-sexualization of girls, that's one thing. But just to say protest it, like, that just doesn't rub me the right way. That rubs me the wrong way.
Well, personally, I don't think there's a reason to create a movie in which this stuff is dramatized. I really think you missed the point when you go repeating the problem in order to illustrate the problem, right? Usually when you do that, you're trying to recreate a murder scene, right? Remember Unsolved Mysteries used to do dramatizations of the crime?
Yep.
Right? So I understand the thinking that went into that. They just didn't evolve far enough in that thought to be like, oh yeah, it's kids, we shouldn't do that. For whatever reason, that last little hump was not able to be like crossed by them. That speed bump was just too far. They couldn't make her. But the problem is here is that Melinda says, oh no, this is a great idea. Use children to demonstrate the sexualization of children by sexualizing those children. Wow. How come nobody else thought of this? Somebody should call Harvey Weinstein. He should get right on that, right? Oh, wait. So the problem is that she's running around now trying to paint us, you, me, everybody under the sun that enjoys video games at all, not just these games that are extreme that they listed out, okay? Not these ones, just the ones that they're extreme. They want all of them gone. A collective shout, excuse me. I get mixed up with it. Collective Shout, their website is very, very open about what they want to see done, okay? So we're going to jump over there now, okay? Hope you're nice and comfortable. I told you, this one's going to be a thick one. We're going to be here for a while, all right? Get your tendies warm. So this is Melinda Tank Top, and she's going to say some words about what she's got going on here.
Thanks for joining with us in believing there can be a better world.
And that's enough of that. So this is what she has to say in text form because I simply can't stand the sound of this Harpy's voice. So here we go. Collective Shout, I almost said collectivist. Collective Shout is a grassroots campaigns movement against the objectification of women and the sexualization of girls. Collective Shout is for anyone concerned about the increasing pornification of culture and the way it messages, that's weird, the way its messages, rather, have become entrenched in mainstream society, presenting distorted and dishonest ideas about women and girls, sexuality, and relationships. Since our launch in 2010, that's important, we have achieved many wins. Billboards objectifying women pulled down, sexualized children's clothing withdrawn from sale, sexually violent video games banned, Andrew Tate's pimping courses removed from Spotify, and an age verification trial underway to help protect kids from exposure to porn. Last year, we saw a record 34 wins. This is all possible because of thousands of people just like you decided to speak out and take action. Now, in their approach, this sounds appropriate, okay? But like I said, they start off with the most extreme examples. One of their founders, we'll jump over to who they are. I can't play the video because they'll nail us for that one. 100% they'll nail us for that one. So I can't play her video. But in Caitlin Roper, the campaign's manager's introduction video, she was explaining that she was raising her children to respect women and have a deep and profound respect for the place of women in society. Again, through a right of center Christian lens, it appears to be. And what upset her is that she would take her children to shops, to malls, and they would see these different advertisements of like Abercrombie and Fitch, these different underwear shops. She complained that there were pornographic magazines being placed next to candy, and that there were men walking around wearing pornographic t-shirts. Now, I'm aware that there are some shirts that have like Budweiser advertisements where there's a girl in a bikini, but I'm not aware of too many shirts that just have full-on naked lady on the front of them that you can go anywhere wearing, by the way. Laws may be different in Australia, but this is what this lady is complaining about. So you must understand that at their core, they're not interested in stopping with games that everyone can recognize has an extreme tilt. Extreme tilt. I didn't say that they're evil. They may come off as something that requires a bit more aggressive of a warning, not a ban. Okay? And these ladies are not satisfied with that. Not only do those games have to go, but so do those underwear ads. So do magazine covers that are suggestive in any way, shape, or form, and shirts that are suggestive in any way, shape, or form. And not anywhere did Caitlin Roper, the campaigns manager that you're looking at right here, mention anything about the women involved with those productions. They're not the problem. Those women who willingly consented to all of that, they're not the problem. It's the men that enjoy that. That's the problem. It's got to be stopped. So, back to the about. Nope, that's not it. There we go. So, they say their purpose, their grassroots campaign, blah, blah, blah. They want to fight for to end the sexualization of girls in media and advertising and popular culture. So, their mission is to bring cultural change and societal transformation through holding corporations, advertisers, marketers, and media accountable for the objectification of women and sexualizations of girls, and encouraging strategic social partnerships that uphold the value of women and girls.
Again, like what value? Like their value? You mean their values, not like other women who like to be free and express their sexuality however they want. Well, within legal reasons, obviously, but still.
This is not something we'll get into what they consider to be sexualization. What they're saying is that that's not a problem. Women walking around with their honkers hanging out, that's not a problem. It's the men that enjoy it and make money off of it that's the problem. That's the problem. If those women want to walk around and do that, that's their right and proclivity to do so, and you can't stop them, mister. But if you make money off of it, or God forbid you enjoy that, you gotta stop. So here's their core values. A voice that values women and girls. A voice. Yeah, right. A voice that is known and respected as a thought leader. THOT. Thought leader on the objectification of women and sexualization of girls. A voice that creates countercultural change where the objectification of women and sexualization of girls is unthinkable.
Wow, bunch of Karens, man.
We are a grassroots campaign movement empowering individuals to speak out and thus amplifying our campaigns nationally and globally now. Congratulations. Our professional presentations Products and thought leadership educate people about the way objectification of women and sexualization of girls is normalized through media, marketing, and corporate behavior. Our presentations, products, and thought leadership lead cultural and systematic change that places value on women and girls. It's not free, obviously, but they just want you to know they got that available if you're interested in, fighting the fight, but you got to pay for it. We develop strategic social partnerships with corporates who value women and girls to encourage other companies to do the same and advance corporate social responsibility. We have a sustainable fundraising model because of loyal partnerships with donors and sponsors and government funding from our government-placed agents that are fully enacting our agenda throughout the Australian and global governing structure. They left that part out. And we'll get to that.
Well, let's see what they define objectification as and sexualization. This is going to be really stupid.
Objectification is the process by which a person comes to be treated as a commodity or an object for use rather than a human being with a personality, feelings, needs, dignity, and rights. Sexual objectification is where a person is objectified for the purpose of sexual gratification or use of another. You know what's really strange about it and all that? Can you guys at home help me? We'll play a little Dora Explorer. What's missing from this definition? Can you tell us what's missing?
Well, male gaze is missing for one thing.
Ding, ding, ding. Richard's got it. These aren't human beings. They're constructs and entertainment. Ta-da! Sorry, you can't say that it is the definition of objectification is a person when you're going to go around and browbeat people over video games, which are not people. If these video game characters were not created, they would not be a problem to you. And therefore, they do not have the agency to resist their creation. Thus, they do not have agency to say that they disapprove of how their bodies are being represented in the game because they're not real. This is the same mentality that animals should have legal rights and be able to sue people. This is the same mentality that we're doing.
Yeah.
These video game characters are being objectified against their will. They have no will. They're just polygons. If you shut the computer off, there's no more boobies.
This is the same logic as antis in the anime community, manga community. And quite a few of them have had a CP up in their hard drive. So that's why when I see this stuff, I'm like, yeah, if you can't separate fiction from reality, there's probably something you're trying to hide.
Well, and you got it right here. Mr. Anime says, I want to tell these women, dear God, will you just shut up and leave people alone with anime and video games alone? And it's true. God bless you. It's true. Because guess what? It doesn't have anything to do with these video games. These women are simply taking video games as something to build up their clout. That's why I call them clout shout. It's got nothing to do with the video games themselves, the characters, what they represent. It has everything to do with them gaining power. And they've gained a lot in this last move. So, what is sexualization? According to the American Psychological Association, so you know it's flawed already, sexualization occurs when a person's value comes only from his or her sex appeal or behavior to the exclusion of other characteristics. I do not know anime.
Bad?
Well, I do not know any other I do not know female characters in any video game. Like, unless it's like one of those purposeful ones where there's like a dress-up doll video game where you just, drag and drop things and whatever. That thing, certainly, that's for that. But like Claire is not like this. Mai is not like this. You have who's another? Meryl from Metal Gear. She's a hell of a lot more than her boobs, but she's got utility boobs. Remember, she pulled a whole gun out of them.
There's also like Mortal Kombat characters like Katana and Melina.
Right. And apparently to clout shout, because they are top-heavy women and because they are in various states of revealing their cleavage, they are just being reduced to just their bodies.
No, they are the ones that are reducing them to their bodies.
Right. That's what these women are doing. Yep. That's what it is. So we'll go on. They say, a person is held to a standard that equates physical attractiveness, narrow defined, with being sexy. Now, this is that mentality that brought us Concord.
Yep.
That, there's body positivity, except for bodies that people would find appealing. Anybody but that body. You see, anybody but that body. So here we go. A person is held to a standard that equates physical attractiveness. I already said that one. A person is sexually objectified. That is, made into a thing for others' sexual use, rather than seen as a person with the capacity for independent action and decision making. It's a video game. They don't have. They can't. Okay, when you're playing as my Shirumi, I think is what you said her name is, but the character Shiranui, sorry, and her boobs are bouncing all over the place. You don't press a button for her to go get a mocha latte. No. You don't press a button for her to go to the hotel room and enjoy a hot tub bath. You press buttons for her to fight. Whether that character wanted to do that or not doesn't matter because the character doesn't possess that agency. It is polygons. So.
Same goes for drawings.
So, we have this right here. And so sexuality is inappropriately imposed on a person. Again, not people.
That's what they're doing. They are the ones doing that.
Correct. So this is their masterclass move, by the way. This is their trap card they have for you. They say, all four conditions need not to be present. Any one is an indication of sexualization. So if you like it, that's got to go. All the characters that you and I like and enjoy, they need to be wrapped up in burqas. That's the only way this is going to work. Head to toe burqas. It's the only way it's going to work now. Weird, right? Weird.
Yeah.
The fourth condition, the inappropriate imposition of sexuality, is especially relevant to children. Anyone, girls, boys, men, women, can be sexualized. But when children are imbued with adult sexuality, it is often imposed upon them rather than chosen by them. Self-motivated sexual exploration, on the other hand, is not sexualization by our definition, nor is age-appropriate exposure to information about sexuality. Sure, so those cute little books that are in the libraries that are telling kids how to, diddle each other, those are fine, because they're for education. But your video game that has nothing to do with any of that topic, but features a big booby anime girl, that must be burned. It's crazy.
Typical Karens.
Absolutely not. So they want to help you. What's the difference between sexuality and sexualization? So here we go. We're going to find out together. All right. Opposing sexualization is not the same as opposing sex or sexuality. We believe girls have a right to healthy sexual development and to knowledge which equips and empowers them to make healthy decisions about sexuality.
Not according to them. Not according to them. They want to choose.
Right.
These people are fucking delusional.
This is the information you're allowed to have, not any information over there. So, their bodies and relationship. Porn culture teaches girls that their value and worth is in their sexual lure and their ability to attract sexual attention. Young women are being socialized and conditioned to see themselves as sexual service stations for men and boys.
That's disgusting. It's so dumb and so gross. It's like, dude, you Karens are just jealous that you do not have boobs, that you're not, and that you're just
old
and fat, husbandless bitches that just need to get laid.
Some of them are married. I'll give them that, but and again, the husbands could be
maybe maybe it's a sexless marriage at this point.
Who knows? Maybe they're freaks and they just don't want that stuff to come out the light, so they're trying to hide it all so they can't be, outed someday. Anyway, our campaigns are directed not against female sexuality, but against a culture that teaches them that is their only value. Our approach is made clear in this article. I'm not going to bother.
No, it's not. It's not. You are against female sexuality. That's what you are. Because you're not getting any. You don't want the rest of us to get any either.
Well, Leslie says a perfectly reasonable explanation here. She says, I hate prawn and stuff like that, but I won't vilify people who like that stuff as long as it doesn't involve kids. And again, like we had this discussion about Rouge the Bat. We talked about this before. Rouge the Bat was recently censored in a previous game, not just the new ones. But Rouge the Bat, trying to find a big enough picture of her that, doesn't suck. It isn't fan art. That's the other part. It's another difficult part of doing this. Where'd you go, Rouge? Is this a big enough picture? Yeah, there we go. So Rouge the Bat has been a topic of conversation in this particular arena for a hot second, okay? So Rouge has obvious cleavage. She speaks with a femme fatale kind of voice. She has a lower tone than most of the female characters. and her shoulders are exposed and the top of her back are exposed. And that was awful and terrible and horrible. So they took all of that away in her updated design. And I will show you that just a moment. Where did that go? There. This is sorry, just trying to dig up all the assets at once. So here it is. These are the old designs versus the new design. As you can see, Rouge is kind of flattened out and evened out, so that way she's not pushing so much of a curvy body type, right? And so it is a delicate conversation to have because you don't want the Sonic characters having sex in video games, all right? But Rouge looks like this originally and acted the way that she did because she was meant to be the opposite of Amy. In real life, you'll meet a young girl who has a crush on a young boy, and that boy will have a crush on an older girl. Now, Sonic doesn't have a crush on Rouge. That's made abundantly clear that he doesn't have a crush on Rouge. However, her presence is meant to act as that competition for Amy, and she registers that. And she's very jealous of Rouge when she first shows up and critiques her and her appearance, okay? So again, it is a larger story, but this is what they're referring to when they say that this stuff is put in front of children and they don't like it. This is what they don't like. And it is a tough line to draw, but on the inverse, they go after anime for the same reasoning. Things like Sword Art Online, Demon Slayer, Goblin Slayer, Sailor Moon. These are all things that they've talked about that need to go away because they sexualize girls. And the reality is that in order to have female entertainment, girls like to look cute. Okay?
Exactly. We like to look cute. In teenagers' cases, they like looking sexy and more mature.
Well, they like to look cute. Now, I'm not trying to make an excuse for Rouge here, but I am explaining why she behaves and looks like that in her original rendition. And that's for a reason, because again, this is meant to create a contrast to Amy, who is supposed to be a little girl. Rouge is not supposed to be a little girl. Nothing about Rouge suggests that she's under the age to drink, even, okay? And again, age in the Sonic universe is completely irrelevant. But one of the things that they stress about here is that Rouge is an adult character, just like Dr. Eggman is an adult character. They don't go out and make it explicit like them talking about their sex lives or anything like drinking in public or anything, but it's made clear through how they behave and act around the others that they are the adults in the room. It's just one of those things that drives these types nuts because they can't get their head wrapped around why people would even tolerate this stuff because they don't pay attention to the media that it came from. They only see the picture and they go, oh, a bat with boobs. We need to delete this. Nah, Mr. Anime says, I still prefer the old design of Rouge the Bat. Well, you and just about every sane person on Earth, you know?
It also sends a bad message to girls like me who are blessed that we should be ashamed of our bodies because these fat Karens say so.
Her voice is a little higher now. And yeah, they were a fun dynamic, and now she's kind of been watered down because, you know, everybody, it's Western entertainment says that children are stupid, and we can't put any type of like suggestion in their head about anything bigger than the world we expect them to have, which is Duplo blocks and edible Legos. Because they're just dumb kids, and we just can't. You ever wonder why manga's kicking their ass? You ever wonder why? Now you know. Now you know. Didn't know this was in Sonic BTW. Been a minute since I played those games. Yeah, well, again, Rouge is, you know, a character that has been polarizing since she showed up. People have a problem with her because of her representation inside of a game that has been largely viewed as for children. And again, it is for kids. But Rouge doesn't push that envelope. She doesn't push it any more unreasonably than any other character that you run into that would be a woman character.
Well, remember, like back in, I think it was Sonic AM, or no, not Sonic AM. It was Sonic Underground. That's where it was. That there was a character that was basically naked,
right? Yeah,
and still had boobs.
Kyo Kusanagi says, "I have great faith censorship won't last, as people will want to be in the know about the world around them." Well, of course, as soon as censorship kicks up, piracy goes through the roof. So. The only thing you're doing is providing a pathway for children to get a hold of this stuff without their parents knowing. That's all you're doing. So now you're elevating the risk of things that shouldn't be coming across the view of children to even higher levels. This is what the satanic panic ended up causing. was a bunch of people running into these very, very strange lifestyles because they were created into taboos. They were forced into becoming taboos when they weren't. They were just fringe things. You ever wonder how the furries got so weird? They were turned into a taboo. So all the people seeking taboo got attracted to that. It used to just be I believe it was animal character appreciation is what it used to be.
Yeah.
Funny animal character conventions. And then it evolved into furries because of these people being attracted to the taboo nature that the media was labeling these conventions as.
Then there's the bronies as well, too.
Yeah, I don't know if there's too much of an excuse to be made for bronies. I don't know if we can make too much of an excuse for the bronies. But they introduced a lot to My Little Pony that wasn't there. See, I used to work with autistic kids. I used to be a teacher's assistant until I got sick and I couldn't be there anymore. And they would watch stuff like My Little Pony, Angry Beavers. You remember Angry Beavers?
Yeah, of course.
They had stuff like that to watch, Paw Patrol, those things, Blaze and the Monster Machines, all that stuff, And of course, I thought that My Little Pony, that first season that Gendy Taratovsky, the Dexter's Laboratory guy, and his wife, Lauren, worked on together was pretty smart. Of course, I was watching it with a bunch of kids, so I was on their level absorbing it. But
yeah, Friendship of Magic is really good. There's a lot of good lessons in there, and there's a reason why it's universally loved.
And it has that Dexter energy to it. It has that kind of bubbling, frenetic Dexter energy that I really like. It was really fun. But again, it's not media that you need to be entertaining any adult concept inside of. So if they were to come out and say that the sexualization of My Little Pony needs to stop, I would be 100% with that. But they're not saying that. So this is what their evidence is, that girls are being hurt by underwear models. Okay? Our purpose, mission, and values and efforts are undergirded by the growing body of global research that verifies the harms of objectifying women and sexualizing girls. For example, Professor L. Monique Ward's meta-analysis of 135 studies provides consistent evidence that everyday exposure to sexually objectifying content is directly associated with higher levels of body dissatisfaction, greater self-objectification, greater support of sexist beliefs, and greater tolerance of sexual violence toward women. So, what they want to tell you is, video games caused kids to do mass shootings. Remember when Hillary Clinton was running around trying to blame Columbine on video games? Remember that? Here we are again, because we have busty anime characters in games that are clearly marketed to adults. Now, again, children find these things appealing because we tore down the wall between adult and child. Sorry, it's just a reality. Man-children is a thing. Woman-child is a thing. It's real. Sorry, we're here. Either way, these games are not meant for children. What was the other one that just Stellar Blade with Eve? That game is not marketed to children in any way, shape, or form. Not at all. You have to convince your mom to get you a copy of one of those, okay? That's the thing. It's not something you're just going to run into. And what they're trying to tell you is, though, that the very existence of these things in the marketplace means that a child somewhere is going to judge their own body inadequate. Or they're going to, as if you're a boy, you're going to have a negative opinion of women that don't fit Eve's body type and sexual behavior. Even though she doesn't have any sexual behavior because she's fighting robots all the time. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. So, here we go. The research concluded that experimental exposure to this content leads both women and men to have a diminished view of women's competence, morality, and humanity. Again, play Tomb Raider and try to tell me that you have a negative opinion of women coming out the other side. Please, play Tomb Raider. Play any of them, even the really shitty one that just came out. Play that one. Try it. You are not going to come out of that believing that women are not capable. Play Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre, right? Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre. That's the game, right?
Yeah.
The cheerleader with her boyfriend in his head. Play that one. Try to tell me that women are not capable on the other side of that one. Play any of the Resident Evil games that involve Alice, right? Alice is the main character.
Alice and Claire is one of them too.
Yeah, Alice and that one in there. Play any of those and try to say that women are incapable. How about this? Play Metroid. Play Metroid and try to tell me that women are incapable. Now, yes, there are video games that present female characters as the damsel in distress.
But even they have video games now too. And Zelda was also
Shriek.
before we get to Sheik. Yeah,
Sheik. Sheik. Yeah. Yep. And we're trapped in algorithms more and more these days. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of that being talked about right now. How people's content is being forcibly changed here, and yeah, it's a long cycle that's going to repeat. You're absolutely right on that one. Yeah, vanilla. Well, more open about it, probably. But again, we got to censor Rosalina. She's bigger chested than Princess Peach. She's also 7 feet tall. But do you know that Rosalina's 7 feet tall? It's crazy.
Dude, that doesn't surprise me. She is a big girl.
They sneak that stuff in all the time. Like, oh, Rosalina's. Oh.
I mean, she is kind of a goddess, so it's like, yeah, it makes sense.
If anybody was going to be tall, I guess, right? You know, she makes Bowser look short. It's crazy. Or just pixels if we're going back to the OG Metroid days. Yeah, try and tell me that Samus is being sexualized in the first Metroid game. Just try and tell me that. Good luck to even knowing that Samus is a girl until they tell you that Samus is a girl. But so we'll go on into the diagnostic here, and it says a 2019 publication of the by the American Psychological Association, co-authored by Our Watch's Elise Holland, found that women's routine exposure to objectifying behaviors in daily life results in habitual self-objectification, which in turn impacts negatively on emotional well-being. Now, you grew up with this, Nerdigans, being told that these impossible beauty standards in media are going to destroy you. Do you feel destroyed?
Actually, I wasn't told that when I was growing up. My mom was one of the what did I say, first wave? Yeah, like first, second wave feminists. So she may not be the biggest fan of like extremely sexual content, but she's not calling to censor it like a lot of the people are.
In school when I was growing up, the girls were told that media that they absorb that teaches them to be sexual is bad. So they were told
that at all. I can watch whatever I want, so.
Right. And so, but they were told that this stuff is negatively affecting them. Like Britney Spears was taboo because she had her "Hit Me Baby One More Time" thing where she was wearing the Catholic schoolgirl outfit, and that was very taboo.
There's the "I'm a Slave for You" one. I think they even I think they went after Baby not Baby One More Time. Oops, I Did It Again when she was wearing that tight bodysuit.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and Leslie says another thing I see is these people want to make decisions for kids that only parents should make. Again, I'm not objecting to what they want to say about kids being kept clear of this kind of stuff. I understand that, right? But what I want to introduce into this is that parents, as you say, are the ones that are the final say in this. Now, my parents did not like Dragon Ball Z, but they tolerated me watching it because there was objectively nothing overtly negative in it. It just pushed the barrier of the kind of violence they wanted me exposed to when I was 12 years old. It's that simple. They had the same problem with Digimon because Digimon was showing characters being killed, and they just wanted me to understand that I can't resolve my problems by murdering people I don't like. You know,
like, maybe it's because my mom is more like on the moderate side, and my dad is like an extreme leftist, not like anti-fat leftist. He's a leftist. But I didn't have any of that pushed on me. I didn't. And I just, when I hear this stuff happening, I'm just like, oh, like, that's really bizarre. Like, why aren't your parents are trying to do their job? Sure. And I'm not going to like, shame anyone's parenting style, but I was raised this way to appreciate art and, to choose what I want to watch or want to read. My parents were just happy that I was reading. So they don't really care. My parents don't care as long as it's as I can watch whatever I want. And seeing all these other Karens go wild. I asked my mom about this, and she thinks that they're just being ridiculous.
Well, and it's another one of those got to validate myself situations. But Richard brings up a good point here. Member of the channel, by the way. Feel free to continue to consider joining if it's right for you. Check it down below. For as little as 99 cents, you can join the Orca crew. So Right here we have good luck if you ever read romance novels that women like. They go hard into some much more problematic stuff. Well, that's just it. In nowhere in any of Collective Shout's complaints about media is 50 Shades of Grey brought up. Never at any point is 50 Shades of Grey brought up. Now, you would think that would be one because it captured the hearts and minds of women across the globe when it came out. You would think a movie that details a lot of sexual abuse. Now, feel however you like about BDSM.
That movie is toned down. I'm one of those people that have read the books like multiple times, and it's such a guilty pleasure read. But
See?
yeah, like, but the thing is, though, is with the movies, they really toned it down.
They didn't have a choice.
Yeah, because if they adapted it like word for word from the book, then it would be like an NC-17 movie.
They didn't only be able to put it on Pornhub. They wouldn't even be able to be NC-17. That's straight up porn if they followed it word for word. That is a straight up 3-hour porn movie.
Yeah.
But again, it's this not mentioned in any of their documents that this needs to be done away with, that it's negative, that what happened was grotesque, that women around the world should feel ashamed of this. No, this is perfectly fine. All the wet, sticky cucumbers that were left in the movie theater, perfectly fine. That was real. You can look it up.
Oh my God.
All that perfectly fine. Because that's just women doing their thing. It's when men like this stuff that it needs to be done away with. Okay. So, yeah, the book is going way worse than the movies did. Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, like all of these female romance novels are quite sketchy. Very, very sketchy. So now they've decided that they're going to start dinging the bell for anything going. So right now, Playboy has a breast cancer fundraiser in which they are depicting women in various pinup poses.
I'm noticing there's a ban porn on Twitter.
Yeah.
See, like this, they're like the far right, the alt-right Christian people, the Christofascists on Twitter that are calling to ban all porn and
Goonergate.
Yeah, Goonergate, those people. And some of them want Rome to run the country because they want their Christian society, like extreme Christian society. Like if you're Christian, I really don't care. Just don't force your religion on me. That's my thing.
Crazy, right? Crazy. But, you know, this whole thing is as you can see, they're taking it to Elon now that they've got their first kill. You know, they went after video games. So now they think they can take on the largest communication platform in the world. X is the #1 news platform in multiple countries now. And so now it's time for them to take old Elon down. And the thing is that these women are a bit armed and dangerous when it comes to this. Because they have somehow successfully warped Visa and MasterCard into following what they are up to. Okay? It may come as a supreme and awesome shock to you, right? That this has happened. They've been able to do this. I am stalling because I have lost a bookmark, unfortunately. It's one of those moments where I was like, oh crap, I had the thing lined up right here. Where did it go? Crap.
It's crazy how like the last bastion of American freedom, purchasing freedom, is American Express. I never thought that would be the case, but
give it time.
I mean, like the other thing, because I've had people like, oh, no, only rich people could get American Express, because I mentioned this. It's like, dude, no, there's something called American Express gift cards that you could get at the store. Like, you could get like $100 gift card, American Express gift card, and just use it for your games, which I think would be kind of the smart thing to do, because that way you don't have to worry about like some of these companies having your information.
So Jay Viper went out and found the government connections that these people have and have been exploiting in order to bring payment processors into line with their agenda. So Jay says, looking into Collective Shout, turned up something interesting. Turns out the phone number they operate under is also associated with Women's Forum Australia, the WFA. They were interested in women understanding their choices other than abortion. A noble cause, truly a noble cause, headed up by Melinda Tanktop. It was right around this point that Reist founded Collective Shout and began targeting companies via censorship and ignoring choice altogether. It's important to note that Australian origins of this company and the many issues Australia has with censorship by its government and controlling bodies. Now, again, they banned certain types of anime and certain types of adult performers due to their chest size, just so you know. If you are of a certain chest size in Australia, they say that you can be confused as a child, and thus you are not able to perform in adult entertainment.
Oh, there's also that in regards to like anime and manga, it's like if they are depicted, if the depiction of them looks like a child or childlike, that that they're banned. And I just look at them, I'm like, dude, you got something up in your hard drive if you think this character looks childlike. And also there are grown ass adults that have baby faces. So you're saying that they don't have the right to exist either.
Right. Or at least be seen in the media. And that's where we're at with this one. So Collective Shout claims it's a grassroots organization. However, they do not publish donors and amounts. Their revenue is displayed only through their ACNC financial report, which is not itemized. They also partner with Good Company for employee direct paycheck donations. Example, companies such as AGL, Australian energy firm, facilitate employee donations through payroll deductions rather. As for the Steam changes, this only took 8 days to work. They wrote an open letter, and 8 days after they were posting their win. Someone beyond this group is pushing it, and when censorship at this level is involved, it is alarming. They're already going beyond their MasterCard and Visa win and are taking games down on Steam, purposely misleading the public. So again, this is their information right here. However, this is where Jay brings up what's going on with them. Why does Collective Shout have so many people that worked in Australian government or public sector roles funded by the Australian government? You got Burnley Poljack here, finance administration manager, the Australian government. Katie Hulusi, secretary, senior management, public sector. Louise Jurish, whatever that is, treasurer, Australian government. Alexandra Gorman, director, coached individuals in government-linked sectors, also worked in public sector. Lorinda Babb, director, background in management and law, including work in statutory schemes, often government-administered regulatory frameworks in Australia, has worked in advocacy with the government and would have ties with people in government. Nothing says grassroots like direct government ties. It's important to acknowledge that Australia has been on a banning campaign in the past 5-8 years. And so these women appear to have been droppings from the government that was doing that and have come together to continue that process. So this explains why they were able to go to Visa and MasterCard and get such a direct response from them so quickly. And again, this was explained by Kim Belair when she was talking about Sweet Baby Inc.'s approach to getting these people to obey her. She said, go to the marketing department and threaten them with retribution if they don't bring in Sweet Baby Inc. This is what Melinda Tanktop and Collective Shout do, is they let Visa know that unless they change their policy, Collective Shout is going to run a smear campaign against that company, equivalating that company's being okay with that stuff being bought as being complicit in the production of it, meaning they were going to directly correlate the leaders of Visa and MasterCard with child exploitative material.
Ironically, there was a report saying that they did by allowing purchases of child porn on OnlyFans.
Correct. And again, Collective Shout is bringing that up, that is something that exists. This is what makes them a difficult beast to wrangle, because they do go after things that have a good reason to be brought up into the conversation, but they way overstep their boundaries when it comes to innocent entertainment. It's one of those things where you have a nanny and she does not understand what you are absorbing, and she's only registering the 2 seconds that she saw of it and is determined that whatever it is and everything like it must be destroyed. And that's what you're dealing with. And this is Collective Shout as a whole, what they are up to and what they've been doing over the past few years. But there is hope out there. Here in the USA, there is a bill in Congress right now that would make it illegal for financial service providers to resist legal sales. So these games were legally available on Steam, and technically they are still legally available. Visa does not write law. MasterCard, PayPal do not write law. And now that's, again, the problem we have here is that their judgments act as law. So we have to deal with that now too. And that's what this bill is meant to do. It's in the House and the Senate. What it's meant to do is to stop debanking and stop the ability for payment processors to stop payments for legal things. Like I said, these games were perfectly legal when they were uploaded to Steam. They couldn't have been on Steam if they were not legal. There is a review process for these things. They don't just get thrown up there.
There's also, like, in terms of legal purchases, that does include guns as well. And it would include marijuana from legal dispensaries.
That's correct. And so as we are sort of going through this, I want to let everybody know that there is a alternative. We have it from Niche Gamer here. If you don't want to wait for the U.S. government to figure out what to do about this, feel free to check out the petition. I'm going to get that for you in just a second.
I sent it to the Slack, so that will be easier.
Yep. It's a change.org one. I've got it right here to put in the chat for you guys. So if you are feeling so motivated, please jump on this one right here and sign the petition, the change.org petition right here. And we will jump over to that real quick. Just wanted to give credit to Niche Gamer for bringing that to our attention. But so we have that run right here, and there's 15,000 verified signatures so far. Now, again, VPNs and duplicate accounts can also be applied to this one. It's not that secure. So again, this may not be 15,000, but it's definitely more than 5,000. I can promise you that. I can promise you it's more than 5,000. So what this is tell MasterCard, Visa, and activist groups to stop controlling what we can watch, read, or play. Again, similar to the European initiative, this is another global outreach. The European was sectored off to the Europeans, but this is being spread globally because it affects everybody globally. And so the issue, MasterCard and Visa are interfering with legal entertainment, often under pressure from advocacy groups like Collective Shout. We demand an end to this censorship of fiction and the right to choose stories we enjoy without moral policing. So there you go.
I don't know if it will work, in all honesty, because we've seen like nothing come out of several change.org petitions, but we'll just have to wait and see on this one. It's good to try, and we should be trying, but kind of like with what happened with Stellar Blade, with the the uncensored or the censored content that was removed, or the content that was removed in the day one patch. There we go. It's not really going to do anything.
Thank you, Rocky. I appreciate it, man. Really appreciate you going out there and signing that petition. Very cool.
I encourage you to at least try and sign the petition, see if something happens. But but like, part of me is just like, this is probably just going to be like a Stellar Blade situation where they don't really care. Well, they care, but like, it's more spammy than like if you send like a handwritten letter. But that's Japan. Japanese are a little bit different because they see this as spam. They see change.org as spam versus like a handwritten letter.
Correct. Very different mentality about protests in Japan. Very different mentality about it. So what we have here, though, is proof to show Congress that there are hundreds of thousands of people in the world, at least, if not the USA, that want to see this happen, that want to make sure that Visa and MasterCard, PayPal, other processors are not able to create law through policy. Okay? Can't do that. Can't have a private entity. You can't have the Ford Motor Company determining for everybody what kind of gasoline gets used in cars, right? That seems kind of dumb, right? Okay. So we shouldn't do that, right? Okay. Let's not do that. Very simple. So, yeah, we can change U.S. law. I have, but it takes a very long time to do. It used to. We have a very flamboyant group of people in Congress right now that may want to make a point out of this because they don't like corporations telling people what to do. That didn't go too well when the corporations turned on their leading guy, Mr. Trump. If you remember, the corporations came out in force against Mr. Trump for a while and then had to change their opinion. And I have a feeling that attitude has not left people that support Mr. Trump yet. They'd like to see these corporations brought further into line so they can't harm private citizens through their ridiculous and overbearing policy changes. So we'll take a look at these, though. My money, my choice. It's annoying. Stop it. Yeah, well, thanks. Appreciate it, Darren. Right to the point. MasterCard and Visa serve a purpose. There we go. They need to be reminded that they are not some sage elder to dole out wisdom or make decisions for us. It's not that hard, guys. You get a neat little fee every time somebody pays for something. Is that not enough for you? Is that not enough for you guys? That you have billions and billions and billions of dollars at your disposal every second of every day, gentlemen. Is that not enough? Apparently not.
We'll just wait and see. Like if more people like end up switching to American Express, for example, just watch them change their tune. Because they'll be like, oh, we're losing customers to American Express, which is somehow the last bastion of American freedom. It's kind of fitting, isn't it? Because it's called American Express.
Right. Well, at least somebody's sticking to the name. So the thing is, though, is that let me just kind of stretch this back to that Japanese thing with Taro and Kata. Okay, we talked about them at the top of the show, these guys that are fighting to keep Japan. So I'm told by one of their supporters that's interacting with the people that handle Mr. Kata that there is a deep and powerful pressure on Prime Minister Ishiba to step down. Now, Ishiba has been very soft on globalization, stopping globalization. He's been very hesitant to resist globalization. Now, with Sanseto being elected, this is a new party that's ultra-nationalist, with this party being elected and Kata getting back in there, as well as other hard, like pro-Japanese politicians outside of those two parties getting in there, Ishiba's got to go. So there's a good chance that Japan could turn this around. Taro might be able to lead the fight on this. I think he's authored legislation about this before. And again, we could see this happen very quickly in Japan because they've only got until the 8th of August to fix their tariff problem, or Trump is setting it in stone. So if they kick Ishiba out in the next week, they might be able to turn these regulations around on Visa's head pretty fast. Because, again, Taro has been a massive, massive, massive force in Japan to talk about this. I know Japan's not that big of a country, but there's a lot of things happening in it. And this guy has commanded a lot of conversation. Let's put it that way. And that's impressive for a place like Japan that has a lot going on. So, yeah, again, like we have so many different people, like Richard says, granted, Tulsi is doing another job that needed to be done, which I didn't expect that she actually would. Well, again, these people inside the government have different roles to play and whatnot. I'm not sure that they would be tied up. Tulsi would be tied up in this one exactly, but who knows how deep this goes? Who knows who's actually tied to this? Because, who stands to prosper from having all this entertainment stripped away and throwing the West and Japan into a tailspin with their entertainment markets? Who indeed stands to profit from that? Yes. Well, guess what? They also want to take down Marvel Rivals. So Marvel Rivals will be getting a refit if they can manage to convince the CCP that those are too sexualized.
The CCP's going to laugh in their face because they know that they don't play this game. They're not paying customers. That's what, I just don't understand what Visa, MasterCard, and Steam even are just listening to these people, because it's like, dude, they are not even playing your games. These are not customers.
It surprised me. Again, we'll find out. The CCP banned pornography sometime in the 60s, 90s rather. And so we'll find out if they are going to go along with this, being told that this is pornographic, and who knows?
I doubt it, because it's like, dude, why? CCP's probably like, dude, why have you listened to a bunch of Karens that don't even live in our country?
It's a good point.
Money talks a lot more than these stupid Karens do.
So, and I do want to bring I'm sorry, I'm just going down my list of stuff here, because I had another one from where did it go? I'm sorry, Chibi Reviews. Oh no, he was the one that brought the boob one to my attention. Sorry, I have a lot of okay, so this is Melinda's new thing right now. Okay, so she posted this yesterday. And so this was a big hubbub about, they're awful, okay? And so you are morally bankrupt and destroying civilization. How dare you say gamers are getting off on the sexual torture of women and kids makes us violent. Also, in my inbox this morning, you effed with gamers. Now now we are going to grape you, and you're going to get graped and killed, you stupid C-word women. this is not a real domain.
No.
Call me crazy, but I don't think that grapeallwomen.com is anything that GoDaddy, that Amazon, the Federal Trade Commission is going to allow to exist. So, yeah, grape and kill stupid wahoo women. Okay. Again, I think this is one of those, I need to get out of trouble. Chat GPT, write me a way to get out of trouble and make me look like the victim. And ta-da, here we have this. So do not reach out and contact these women in any private manner. And if you do feel the need to get confrontational with them, just remind them that there are real world abuses that are happening that have nothing to do with polygons that they're happy to ignore. And if you do feel so bold, feel free to engage them about cuties and how their leader, Melinda Tank Top, seems to think that that's just a wonderful gift to humanity. And it's an important little ethically problematic piece of protest. Very important. It does smell like a hoax. Yeah, it does smell like a hoax. Yeah, I know that people can get really angry, but I just highly doubt that this domain name is registered anywhere in the world, let alone like in the USA. So it's just one of those things. Just one of those things that blew my mind on this one. Blew my mind on it. But it's such a strange time to live in with all of this going on.
Yeah.
We're fortunate, really, that we grew up at a time when this stuff was sort of just being b-balled around by, people who had nothing better to do. But now these government institutions have decided to get involved in all of this and really let them have it.
Well, this is why you should be grateful for the American Constitution, because it prevents this kind of stuff. It prevents and something that people have been saying, and I can't remember who it was specifically, but they were saying that once the porn goes in terms of censorship, then it's a free for all. Like you'll see like even more censorship. And that's why it's important to keep, porn from being banned in the first place is kind of because of that.
So we did have one of the leaders of Collective Shout decided to take to the internet today. And this morning, or rather Australian time last night, she felt so bold to post this. She said, "Someone reach out to the Game Boys. They need help urgently. Brains rotted from CSAM, grape, and incest games. Now they're chasing after women with grape and murder threats and false accusations."
I hate this censorship crap. I hate how they're censoring rape and they're censoring incest. This really pisses me off.
Thank Elon. He's got to protect those advertisers somehow. Precious advertisers. So seriously. Precious.
Elon, like this is so dumb. This is supposed to be a free speech platform. And
depending on how creative you can get, it is.
Yeah, but still, it's just this is probably, I would say, worse than old Twitter was. Because with old Twitter, you could say this crap and not get not get punished for it.
Well, and Troy Renlund also points out the biggest takeaway from this is that there were not 10,000 emails, 10 billion emails saying this to you, ma'am. It was one. Otherwise, you would have shown us more. So this is one, and it was one that does not represent the majority. I have not encountered anyone in this discussion, truthfully, that had anything more to say than F you to these women. That's it. They have mocked them, sure, mocked them ruthlessly, but they have not
laughed at
said
them being stupid Karens. But
right. The only thing they've said directly toward them in the way that would mean anything possible is F you in the full context. I have to be careful because of YouTube. So it's one of those things where, the line is drawn, I guess. So she says for holding COS to their own terms of service and whatever, because they can't access their CSAM and incest games. Now, we're not mad because they took those games away. We are mad because they are taking all of this stuff away, that it starts here. We're mad that they went after anime. And they have. They've gone after anime. They made anime a target of theirs. I forget which one it was here. Collective. I have a lot of bookmarks on this. Sorry. Where did that go? That they hated. There. Megan Murphy is another part of their group. And she says, pervert nerds are responsible for most of society's ills. Prove me wrong. And she's, of course, commentating on this is from Chibi Reviews, by the way, just so you know. And he's pointing out how they're commentating on Grockalina. Now, again, feel however you like about Grockalina, all right? Whether you think it's a good idea or not, it is something you're freely allowed to engage with. You do not have to engage with Grockalina or any of the companions if you do not want to. Your Grok app can simply use the voice chat. If you do not want to use the voice chat with Grok, you don't have to. It's all very much voluntary.
Or just don't use Grok altogether.
There's that. Grok has a lot of hiccups, as you well know. Everybody has seen in the past couple of weeks that Grok has a lot of problems. And again, we're up against this because as a result of what went on with Steam being censored, I got to dig it up real here because again, my bookmarks. I guess I closed the wrong window at some point. It killed all my bookmarks.
Oh no!
But it's true. They are going to censor Grockalina. That's right.
That was actually debunked by someone else too in the comments. And even this person, Jennifer, she admits that is that's wrong. But yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Okay.
But yeah, she admitted it was wrong.
So Grok, once again, getting it wrong and humiliating people that trust the information that this platform is supposed to be able to tell about itself. You just have to love old Elon and his crazy computer systems that one day want to wipe out a whole religion of people, and then the next day, want to be your girlfriend. Gotta love it.
Let me see if I can find this.
I'm just getting to the point where, like, if it's not the weather, I don't want to hear it, Grok. Even then, I don't know if I can trust it.
Oh, I forgot. Let me send you this because there was a post on their Facebook page where they're declaring their victory.
Oh, yes. Yeah. They were very proud of all that.
Yeah, there's that. Let me see if I can find the other tweets here. Oh, there's a lot from Collective Shout that I have.
Oh, there it is. Here's the one where they go after anime. Okay, here it is. This is what I was looking for. This same lady as earlier that said that gamers are all child abusers. So here we have, she's asking for the Prime Minister of Japan, of Australia, to show that there's no place for depictions of child abuse in Australia. And this is Sword Art Online, Goblin Slayer, manga, and the Lolly Ecchi. And that's what she has done in here. Now, this is Collective Shout from back in 2020. And so they are, how did classification board justify sexual violation of children for entertainment? Calling communications minister, sorry, he was an MP, whatever that means. These weird British things are dumb. Just don't do that. Don't say dumb things. Just call him a representative. Don't do this MP stuff, minister. Stupid. Useless stuff. Titles for people who don't matter, basically. The media release, blah, blah, blah. They're very mad about anime existing, and that's really what it is. Is that, here we go. Described anime movies depicting wide-eyed children, usually in school uniforms, engaged in explicit sexual activities and So that's what's going on in Gundam. Just so you know, that's what's going on in Gundam Char's Counterattack is the girls are running around with their schoolgirl uniforms doing explicit things, sexually explicit. There you go. Australia, home of the boomer opinion of anime right there.
Yeah, seriously.
So, Senator Griff, thank you for using a term that people around the world are going to recognize for, a figure of authority. Senator Griff cited a number of anime series featuring the sexual abuse of children. One of these series, Sword Art Online, depicts the rape of a sexual assault of children. What? No, he's in an isekai. What are you talking about? He's in a what? So it was he was even given an unrestricted M rating by the classifications board, despite the fact it constitutes illegal child exploitation material. According to Senator Griff, the character Asuna is raped by her captor Sugo, who threatens to also rape her in the real world, where she is lying in a hospital room in a catatonic state. Sugo says he will make a recording of the virtual rape to shame her. I don't recall this. Does anybody watch Sword Art Online to verify that this actually happened?
Wait.
Yeah,
Let's see.
right?
Yeah, Azuma. All right. Yeah, Azuna is close to getting assaulted, like near the end of the first part of Sword Art Online.
Okay, so it doesn't happen. Just the threat.
No, it doesn't. He's about to. He's like her clothes are coming off and stuff like that.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened with Dan to Dan.
Yeah, Dan to Dan. It's God.
That's a Bobo joke, by the way.
I know. I swear these people should not be watching Dan to Dan.
They will be.
And it's going to get worse. It'll get worse with Gachi Okuda because there is a literal grooming scene that happens in the manga. So that's going to be very interesting to see how these people react.
What are you weirdos talking about? I'm like 3 seconds into the show and I've heard like grooming and assault and it's like, hey Jacob, how are you doing? How's your day going? It's like, how did I fall into this conversation?
Anime. So there are Australian feminists that are angry that anime girls have big boobies, and they have killed video games because of it, and are now setting their sights on all anime, by the way, because this is how they define it.
Oh, are we still going with this lie that people with big boobs and figures that we can't obtain makes us feel bad about ourselves?
So they must be banned. Yes, that one. Australia's numerous for this one, but this is what their golden child, Senator Griff, said about this. Described anime movies depicting wide-eyed children, usually in school uniforms, engaged in explicit sexual activities and poses, often being sexually abused. You remember all the sex abuse in Digimon? Like, my gosh, there wasn't a single episode.
Remember all the sexual abuse in Monster Rancher?
Yeah,
and
all the
Beyblade?
time. Yeah, especially Beyblade, man. Wow, Bakugan had tons of it, man. It was all over the place.
It was just horrific.
Man, Sailor Moon had tons of that. Man, that was all over the place.
Every single episode was violent sexual assault.
Yep, every single episode.
Even in the opening credits.
Yep. Fighting Evil by Moonlight is a very, very explicit song, just so you know. Even it would make Exhibit blush.
we just talked about this on a different stream about like yesterday, maybe on Saturday, and here's what it really comes down to. This is a lie that feminists have been pushing for many years. Remember the lie about like 20-30 years ago that, you know, when you see supermodels and bikini models in the magazine, that they promote an unhealthy body type, quote unquote, because women are going to see that, and then they're going to try to obtain that. They're going to commit eating disorders because they don't look as good as the models on the magazines and stuff like that, right? And that's what they told you for several years, right? And in the course of that, people started to actually buy into this lie, and they were like, okay, great, we're going to put 300-pound fat chicks on it to replace them. And then everyone was like, yes, great, this is body positivity. No one ever stopped to go, wait a second, didn't you just say that the whole point of you doing this, that you were promoting unhealthy body types, and now we're putting in people who quite literally have unhealthy body types in the same position as a bikini model? Yes, and that's what we're doing. Completely unironically, that is what we're doing. So essentially what happened is that seeing, you know, skinny models, bikini models, lingerie models, whatever the case may be, made a certain demographic of women feel really bad about themselves. And they didn't like having to open a magazine and see someone who looked better than them. So they essentially shamed the entire industry into getting rid of those women. And by and large, it has worked, especially over the last 10 years. But now there's come a little bit of a problem, because now you go around, you look at magazine covers and all of these like sexy, quote unquote, sexy mags. And now you just see a bunch of ugly chicks and fat chicks, and sometimes you can even get a dude thrown in there as well. But now the problem is that you have to deal with animated chicks as well. You have to deal with chicks in video games and chicks in anime and cartoons. Now we have the point where we have to stroke these women's ego to a point where they have to feel like they compete with cartoons. So if there's a woman in a cartoon who is drawn to have a sexy body type that they can attain, that has to go now too, because now it's not enough that we've basically eroded the real women. We now have to erode the fictional women too, because it's like, oh my god, that's an unattainable body type. Yeah, it's a video game. It's not supposed to be attainable. It's literal fiction.
Would you like to meet Superman, Batman, perhaps He-Man?
Yeah. Oh, we can't draw Wonder Woman. That's an unrealistic body type. Yeah, Wonder Woman can also fly. She also has many things that normal women can't do as well. Because the whole point is it's not supposed to be attainable. It is literal fantasy / fiction.
Well,
I'm sure they
body
hate
type is
Renaissance
kind
art.
of. I'd say Wonder Woman's body type is attainable. It involves going to the gym, but
it involves an ungodly amount of steroids for a woman to take to assume the typical Wonder Woman. If you're going off of the comic accurate Wonder Woman depiction, yeah, you would probably need more TRT to kill an elephant.
So you take a look at this right here, though. This is what, again, we talked about this a little earlier, but I'll show you this, Jacob. This is what she had to say. Porn-influenced heroines in video games with impossibly big breasts and unreal bodies are harming a generation. Well, she says that they were surgically enhanced breasts, so attention is drawn to their sexual characteristics with tight clothing, emphasizing large, surgically enhanced breasts. So that's right. Before Lara Croft was ever jumping into tombs, she had her boobs boosted. Same with Cortana, being in a digital construct hologram AI, apparently had to get a boob job, apparently. That again.
So this is the angle that they're going with. They're going with the literal think of the children angle. This is the way that and it has nothing to do with the kids whatsoever, because it's not the kids who are upset by this at all. The kids probably don't even know that half of these characters exist. It is the 30 to 40-year-old bitter cat ladies who are upset by this, because they have been the ones consistently and obsessively complaining over the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years going back now, and we're doing it again.
Yeah, like Milena Velba. I'm not sure who that lady is. I don't think I can show her on screen here.
I'm pretty sure you cannot.
So I don't know who she is. I'm not trying to insult your taste, but I have a feeling she's somebody that I can't Google search while I'm sharing screen. So,
but this is like a satanic panic all over again, though.
Yeah.
Which some people say never happened.
Oh, no, it happened. I did a whole 5-episode arc on that one, explaining what it was actually about. You can go back and check it out on the Bible Lens.
And so these, they're still very mad that Sword Art Online, that depicts a character about to be harmed and has a threat put upon her that her unconscious body in real life will be harmed as well, sexually, of course. I can't say the word. They're saying that should have meant that the Sword Art Online anime was banned in Australia or put on a very high maturity level so that children couldn't access it. Now, Nerdigans explained to me that the character was not harmed, but the implication that she would be harmed if the hero didn't interfere was there. Now, this is pretty normal in anime. Characters are brought to the edge of death before the hero shows up. I mean, half of Goku's career is picking his friends up and giving them a senzu bean before they die. So, you know, it's one of those things where these people aren't like grasping it. So they're very mad about this. And she says, we would like to know why board members justified the sexual violation of children for entertainment.
It's a freaking drawing. And I think at that point in the anime, because they were trapped in there for a long time. I think she was already an adult by then, if I remember correctly. Let me know in the chat or the comments, Sword Art Online fans. But yeah, I think that's what it was. She wasn't even underage.
Here's the question that I have. Like I said, she's trying to make it seem like it's about something when everyone with a brain can tell this is not about that at all. If it was a 30-year-old woman, would the context of this conversation change at all? If the person in this drawing a cartoon, anime, whatever it is, would her argument completely be thrown out of the window if this was a 30-year-old woman being portrayed in this anime? Would it change at all?
No, because the character's being threatened with sexual assault, and that's not going to change if she's an adult or not. The only problem they have with it is that she's a child. That's it. The character's being threatened with sexual assault. That's a pretty scary villain thing to do. He doesn't go through with it because he gets stopped.
Yeah, he's taking off. Well, yeah, but he's ripping off her clothes and stuff like that. But like, still, it's not even her real body. It's her like virtual body.
Once again, he doesn't go through with it. You're not shown anything. She's not revealed to the audience in a state of nudity. She's almost there, obviously. But again, this is how you draw tension. They're making the hero look good for stopping this.
Just real quick, I'm assuming that this particular anime is not one that's for kids in any way, shape, or form, right?
No, it is.
Make that assumption.
It was on Adult Swim. That's how I watched it. Was it being aired on Adult Swim?
So
which one is this one again?
Sword Art Online. That was on Adult Swim.
but even Adult Swim was in its context is something that's not for children. Like even that's how it was originally introduced.
I'd say it's more for teenagers than anything else, not like young children or anything like that. Now.
Waiting for it's rated 11 and up. That's what it's rated for, 11 and up. Because again, nothing is shown here that is not what you'd find in a comic book. What you find in any old regular, like Carol Danvers. By the way, Carol Danvers was impregnated by an abusive time traveler who then was birthed out of her, grew up overnight in one day, and then she fell in love with him and married him.
But now comics aren't the problem.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that weird thing.
Who wrote that abomination?
The same guy that made Fantastic Four, the greatest thing it was in the 90s. Believe it or not.
That makes sense.
That guy. That same guy. So anyway, in the Goblin Slayer, children are portrayed as frightened or resisting, at the same time enjoying sexual abuse inflicted on them. They're, of course, referring to the very disgusting scene at the beginning of Goblin Slayer, but in no way are the characters enjoying that. And I don't believe that the female character is a underage character in that depiction, nor is she enjoying being harmed by the goblins in that manner. She's also depicted later on as being pregnant with whatever came out of that. So that is not very, that's not anything happy or rewarding. That is meant to be why the Goblin Slayer is so vicious, why he is so driven to inflict maximum harm on these creatures instead of making it quick and clean. When you see him strangle the life out of the hobgoblin, you are very, very satisfied with that result because of what happened to his female compatriots. Okay, this is the problem.
Before I forget, Cider, I finally found the thread and I posted it in the private chat
about Gracalina.
Yes, about the feminists taking L's.
And so the board has made child sexual exploitation material available for purchase in Australia retail outlets, including mainstream stores like Sandy. Now, of course, this is like, what do you guys have for like a media store? We have Bull Moose up here, but it's just a media store where you got DVDs, music, manga, all that stuff in one place. Like BAM, I guess. BAM.
I mean,
Barnes and Noble.
We used to call it Circuit City or Best Buy, but I don't even know if those even still exist.
Best Buy had books.
Yeah, some of them did.
Wow, crazy. So yeah, this is what they're talking about here, is that like this story, because Goblin Slayer, they say, depicts children enjoying sexual harm being done to them.
No, it's not. They're goblins raping a woman. It's what goblins do, and that's why Goblin Slayer kills the goblins
so viciously. That's the point of depicting that, is so it justifies why the Goblin Slayer is so methodic about inflicting maximum harm on these creatures as opposed to just killing them quickly. Okay? It's why you feel catharsis when he strangles the hobgoblin. It doesn't feel brutal. It feels right that he takes that character out.
I mean, you can use that parallel to basically any movie that's ever existed. It's like at some point you have to show the bad guy doing really, really bad things so that later on in the movie, when he gets his comeuppance, it evokes an emotional reaction out of the viewer because you realize that he is an evil son of a bitch, that he's going to deserve everything that's about to happen to him in the future.
But that's another thing, though, in general with villains. I've seen like so many people like complain about villains doing villainous things. It's like, dude, that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and again, they go on and they talk about this, saying this has allowed PDF file culture to flourish. Okay. Wow.
That has allowed it.
Wow.
That has allowed it.
That's the thing that tipped the scales, Miss Tank Top. Okay.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't grown men twerking in the street in front of children. That had nothing to do with it. It was definitely this anime show.
No, they don't make any mention of Baldur's Gate 4, which is the one where a woman or a man can have sex with a bear. They don't make any
The one
mention
that
of
won
that
all
one.
the awards that they were all bragging about was the greatest game that they had seen in this generation.
Not a word
Not a
mentioned
word.
about that whatsoever. That's perfectly fine. That doesn't diminish women, having them have sex with a bear. That doesn't
Or
diminish them at
promoting
all.
bestiality or anything
Of course
like
not.
that. Like no.
That's no. It's typical Australian things.
So,
apparently.
somehow we can differentiate between fiction and reality when it comes to that. Just can't do it when it comes to this.
Right. How can we claim to care about the epidemic of child sex abuse when child sexual exploitation material is given the tick by our so-called...
Sure, let's look at the demographics of people who are committing these child sex abuse cases. Let's really look at the hard numbers here, and it will take about less than 5 minutes for that entire conversation to be shut down very, very quickly.
But I was gonna say, you don't see these people like trying to save the girls that are being abused and in child marriages, like in the Middle East. You don't see any of that.
You don't even have to go there. I mean, do you guys realize how many women in the American school systems have been arrested over the last 5 years having sex with underage students?
Yep.
It was one like 2 days ago.
I hate to be hyperbolic here, but it feels like it's a much worse situation than you would see in the Roman Catholic Church these days, because it's literally 5 times a week you hear these stories all over the country. And I feel like that's kind of an elephant in the room that everyone's half stepping around right now, because I don't know, is it because the perpetrators are literally women and we don't like having that conversation about, the predatorific tendencies of women, especially when they're dealing with young teenage boys, and some of them aren't even teenagers. I heard the story this morning about one who had sex with an 11-year-old.
Yep. And that's the thing, is that they're always given more lenient sentences on this as well. That's the other thing. They're never hit as hard as the males. Not that the males should get any less severe of a sentence, but it should be just the same crime, same result.
But the anger towards them is nowhere near the males, because it's like, when you see like, oh, if a male had sex with an underage girl, we want to string him up in a tree and rip his genitals off, do all these horrible things to him. Yet when it's literally a 30-year-old teacher having sex with an 11-year-old boy, everyone's natural reaction is to high five, be like, oh, that's so cool, bro. Like, really? Is that the mindset that we should be having? Is this why we're essentially having this epidemic? Because people choose not to take it seriously because the gender roles are reversed? Yeah, we have to sit here and listen to collective garbage like this, pretending like these people actually care about the problem, but don't want to talk about the problem because the demographic of people who are actually committing the problem that they're complaining about is not in their side.
Right. That's why they chose video games.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why I said, it's something's going on in their hard drives.
So, our experience working with child sex abuse survivors and clinicians supports Senator Griff's statement that this material is a gateway to the abuse of actual children and can be used as a grooming tool to normalize abuse. That's right. So if you watch one episode of Goblin Slayer, congratulations. You're the same as Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure Jeffrey Epstein was inspired by some 1980s anime he saw once. And then was like, you know what? I'm going to create Pedophile Island.
You know who was an anime fan, though? Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was an anime fan. So, I mean, and, Sharia hasn't particularly been kind to women either. So, just...
But no, they rather focus on drawings.
Right. Well, polygons, drawings. Yes, of course. It's all horrible. Everything everywhere. But by the way, just so you know, one episode of Sailor Moon, you're going to Epstein Island. It's just that quick. It's just that quick. It's faster than COVID. So, quote, this matter must be immediately referred to the Australian Federal Police. What? This started out online. Somebody call the police.
Remember when Australia created internment camps during COVID? Remember when that was a thing?
And they were knocking and stomping people down with horses because they resisted forced vaccination. Remember that? That's not a problem. This anime stuff, though.
Straight up internment camps. Not the, oh my god, this is just like Auschwitz. It's like, no, they straight up created internment camps for people who may or may not have had COVID during the...
Yeah, that happened. And Communications Minister Paul Fletcher needs to take charge of this failed government agency and investigate how it could allow this content to be permitted contrary to Australian law. Okay. They sound like that, just so you know.
It's just a bunch of Karens asking for the manager.
So that's what it is. Is the reality is they're not going to stop at video games, guys. It's anime. Anime is the next thing that's got to go. They are not going to stop. Like they said, they Sword Art Online, Sailor Moon, Goblin Slayer. These shows that show. I'm pretty sure they go after Cardcaptor Sakura. Definitely after Madoka. They're absolutely going to go after Madoka.
No, for sure.
That one where the girls transform into the adult men. Do you remember that? Where their magical girl transformation turns them into adult men. Do you remember that? They were like muscular men.
Yeah, I can't remember
That
the
one.
name, though.
That one will be done away with because when she's a female before her transformation, she has the big boobies, and you can't do that. That's bad.
Oh, Tokyo Mew Mew would be out of there.
Yep. The Get Backers. The Get Backers would be out of there. There's a lot of stuff in the Get Backers. That's an old one, by the way. I'm going way back on that one. But there again, I mean, this is what we're knee deep in, the censorship stuff that is going to continue to be, at the very least, pervasive in this place, let alone just out and out being.
I mean, like I said, this whole argument is just nonsensical because, like I said, this is the stuff this is apparently the dangerous stuff that we need to work on censoring. Meanwhile, in the last 20 years, not only just in our country, but in culture in general, we have promoted utter degeneracy on media and music and movies and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, but this is the hill suddenly that we want to die on. I remember, Cider, I think I even asked you this question a couple like weeks ago. Remember the Kids' Choice Awards just happened like not that long ago, and I found out that Ice Spice of all people was at the Kids' Choice Awards in a mini dress, and my immediate reaction was, who the fuck actually invited Ice Spice to the Kids' Choice Award? And then some people were trying to defend it by saying, oh, well, she's the new voice in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, so that's why she's there. Who in the hell booked her to be in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie? Now, who do you think is doing more to, I guess you could say, pervert children into blatantly sexual? And
this is what he's talking about. This is what she showed up to the Kids'
Choice Awards. That's a real photo. This is not artificial intelligence. That's a real photo from the Kids' Choice Awards that took place probably not even more than like a month or two ago.
Yep.
But the defense was, oh, well, she's in the SpongeBob Square. Who saw this and thought, you know what she'd be perfect for? SpongeBob SquarePants.
Some idiot at Nickelodeon did.
So they are... Again, this is what makes them difficult to combat, is because they do take good swipes and bad swipes, okay?
It's mostly bad swipes.
Right, but this is why we need to meet them on the bad things and leave them alone on the good things, okay? Removing child sex abuse doll heads following the campaign, okay? So Temu getting rid of those things. Just want to make sure that I find that on Google real quick so we know what we're talking about here. Just a second, but this is one of their wins that they're posting about, and I think we can all agree that getting rid of dolls that have, that's what was on. Okay, wow. Apparently they didn't get rid of them. Hold on. There's a lemon, train, smartphone, monkey. Oh, it's been discontinued, but they're still. Anyway. So we can't look at the product because they did take it down, but these are very suspicious devices that Temu was selling. So, yes, I am A-okay with Collective Shout going after this and taking this off the market. I don't believe there should be a device that is depicting someone, in this manner. I think that's a bit extreme. Again, what you get up to in your private time is what you get up in your private time, but again, this is a very suggestive doll, and it does at first glance resemble someone who is not of the age to vote. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But the one like little white pill in stores like that, though, those are the same type of degenerates who, get our MRI machine with a butt plug on and then blow out their insides because of their degeneracy. So I mean, there's always a good ending at the end of the day.
So these, they had these. If you don't know, there are full body male pleasure devices. And they do take on shapes similar to these, and Collective Shout did go after these and have them removed from storefronts that were offering them. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is
Yeah.
what makes them difficult to battle, is because they went out and they are actually going after things that are extreme in their representation. Now, No Mercy was another game that was very difficult to defend. Okay. While being a game that does not involve any real human beings being harmed or degraded in any way, shape, or form, not even scans of a real human being, none of this. It does involve the main goal of the game as violating your stepmother who has betrayed your father.
Look, there are certainly, as the late great Charlie Murphy once said, habitual line steppers out there. There are people who will purposely thread a line and then try to step as far as they can over that line to the point where you have to literally throw them back on the other side. And yeah, if stuff's like that, absolutely, I don't have any. I'm not going to sit here and argue against stuff like that when it comes to that. I'm talking about this kind of the general argument here when it comes to like a lot of these like anime depictions of women, which really just to me seems like this is kind of a recycle of the same argument that we've already kind of proven to be a lie over the last 20, 30 years, but they're trying to recycle it because I guess they assume that, well, this new generation hasn't heard the lie that we told people 30 years ago, so maybe we can trick them into believing it this time around. And it's like, for that, it's like we need to just stop beating around the bush and just call it out for exactly what it is.
What I said, Jacob, was remember back in the like 2000s when the Karens were going after Barbie and Bratz and Monster High because of their harmful depictions of body image and shit. That's what this is kind of giving.
And it was like, well, how was it a harmful depiction of body image? Like it's a doll. Like no, I have a perfect photo to be the representation of that whole argument that Nerdigan just brought up here. If you want to pop that on the screen for a second, we can't show this. This is essentially This is essentially the entire movement in a nutshell. It all comes out to this. Like, if you need it to be spelled out for you, then there may be no hope for you. But this is basically the last 40 years of this country in a nutshell.
Yeah, the titty MV is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I learned about this from an older lady who happened to be Australian that I used to talk to when I was a teenager, because you could do that, and nothing awful came of it, by the way. But she explained that she was vexed by other women because of her top-heavy nature, and as a result became a tomboy because the men were the only ones that wanted her around. The women wouldn't even coexist with her because of her frontal entrance, if you will. Full frontalness. Let's put it that way. There it is.
Yeah.
She was ostracized by the other women in her small town because of this. And so she grew up being a tomboy because the men were the only ones that would give her the time of day. The women would literally not acknowledge her. Her mother just told her, said, it's boob envy, darling. They're never going to get over it.
It's kind of like with what happened in South Park, the episode when Bebe got her boobs, and like all the girls were pissed that the guys were like fawning over her.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like it's sort of one of those things. Like I forget which Sailor Moon character had this. There was it was Venus, Sailor Venus. All the girls were getting jealous of Venus because she was a movie star.
Yeah. It's all at its core jealousy and envy. That's really what it comes down to. It's like no one's asking you. This is a big thing here too, because you'll hear people argue about this on social media all the time. There obviously the clear trend over the last 5-10 years has been women getting Brazilian butt lifts, right? So all these women are getting these horrific butt surgeries because in their
that bad sit down wind.
Yeah, exactly. Because in their world, Kim Kardashian is the most attractive woman on that, and she has a huge fake ass too. So they start looking at all the men who like Kim Kardashian. They start being like, well, if the men who like Kim Kardashian want this, then I have to start doing this because I have to start competing with Kim Kardashian. No one asked you to compete with Kim Kardashian because guess what? Not every man likes a huge fake ass. Shocker, that is true, right? Not everyone asked for this, but then they'll sit there and tell you, it's like, oh, well, you're the reason why this happened because you're the one who wanted the Kim Kardashians and the Khloe Kardashians. It's like, no, you're the ones in the circle who actually give these women attention. People like the Kardashians and the Jenners. It's like they're main fan base, their target demographic is women. So they obsess with the body image of these celebrities and then try to essentially mask themselves up or quite literally mar themselves up to be like the celebrities that they idolize. So all of these women over the last 10 years have marred up their body attempting to mimic what Kim Kardashian looks like. And then in their minds, it's the men's fault because that's what the men want. No, that's what you want. And you're the one who's envious of these women. And as a result, you do stuff like this. And keep in mind, women have died, like legitimately died, many of them attempting to do this.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't show you the first few Google image results, but I can show you this one. Oh my goodness, this is hilarious. Here we go. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Look at this. You mean the bubble butts?
That's not even bubble butt. That is like popcorn on a stove ass. Like,
Jiffy Pop. Oh, that's Jiffy Pop.
Yeah, that's the Jiffy Pop butt. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they think that this looks good. And like I said, the only reason why they do this, exactly, and the only reason why they do this is that they think that the man that they want to obtain loves Kim Kardashian's ass. So if they get one like her, then they can compete with her.
And it does. There was one woman that was, I think it was on Dr. Phil or something. It was complaining their butt was filled with concrete.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah. So like I said, it's the same mentality when it comes to boobs. Like an A cup automatically feels insecure when a D cup walks into the room, and then they notice, oh, well, the guys are giving the D cup the attention, so I need to boost up my cup size so I can compete with her, not accepting the body that they have. Because guess what? There's probably plenty of guys out there who don't want D cups, who will say up and down that, hey, you know what? I'm a fan of the itty bitty titty committee, but you don't want those type of guys. You want the guys that essentially say that you want the guys that, you know, oh, well, all the popular girls are going after, all the popular guys are going after this girl because she looks like this. So you want to essentially mimic her and be as popular as her. It's jealousy and envy of the women. It really doesn't even have anything to do with the woman in general that they're talking about here. When they're talking about, oh, this woman is promoting an unhealthy body type. It's like, well, why is it? It's because this woman is popular and guys like her. It's the same thing that you've heard over the last couple of, I guess, months with Sydney Sweeney, because she's been the it girl for the male attraction for the last several. It's the same argument. And this is why they do this, because they think that, oh, we're going to follow them. Like, no one told you to do that. There's an entire generation of women out there who have marred themselves, their lips, their ass, their boobs, everything, because they want to look like Kylie Jenner. If you go on and check Kylie Jenner's Instagram, I'm pretty sure at this point she probably has anywhere from 40 to 100 million followers. Who do you think those people are? Not men, women.
Troy has a great point right here. He says, Troy Renlund says, natural at its worst size is still better than fake at its best size. And I like how he doesn't say big or little there. I like how you chose that. It's good, man. That's real forward thinking. I like that. Diplomacy. If we ever need like a boob butt negotiator, I nominate Troy. All right. We ever need one of those, we nominate Troy.
I mean, look, I think everyone here has probably seen a bad boob job or two. And when I mean by bad boob job, I'm not talking about the woman who went up maybe 1, maybe 2 cup sizes. We're talking about the ones who had such a bad boob job, it looks like she has basketballs stapled to her chest. Like, it doesn't look natural. It doesn't even look remotely real. And in their minds, because they have such a horrific, a view of their own body, they think that that's attractive to people. Maybe it's attractive to fetishists, but I don't know any normal person that they like, oh yeah, I want to get with that.
Yeah, this is Jacob's talking about the old bolt-ons.
Yeah, that one.
Those are bolt-on movies. We call those bolt-ons.
Exactly, because you stretched your skin out so far, the implants aren't even fully attached to your body anymore. So it's like you can literally see like where they were implanted, either up or down. So they don't even look like real boobs. They look like somebody just took like a crochet ball and stapled it to your chest.
Yep. No, that's why it's the joke. It's the bolt-on that they're not natural in any way, shape, or form. There's nothing to them. They look like party balloons that were stuffed under a beige sheet. They're not. It's a phenomenon where men get blamed for this because somehow this is our fault.
Exactly,
because we did this to these
because you're trying to follow somebody else's looks. because you're jealous and envious of the attraction that they get. So then you mar yourself up to look like them, thinking that you'll attract the same attraction that person is attracting. And then when you realize that that's not how it works, what do? You blame essentially the men by saying that this is your fault because this is the body type that you wanted. Is that the way you said, or is that what you assumed?
Well, and it's one of those things where we're back to collective shout with this one, where they assume things. They put out another update on their blog that's tracing all of the threats made against them. And so here we go. Another guy being really crazy out there saying some stuff I can't repeat on YouTube. There's no need to get this angry at them. Go play a game, guys. Come on. It's really not that important. They're not going to be scared. This is obviously something they want.
And I got to be a little honest with you here, too. And this is probably something that I've noticed, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys have noticed, too. Twitter has gotten very, very horrific over the last year or so when it comes to bots just saying like the most offensive things that you can possibly can. So a lot of the times when I see stuff like if you saw messages like that like 10 years ago on Twitter, you'd be like go outside, bro, like go touch grass somewhere. At this point, I'm not even certain how many of these comments are coming from like actual people. Like I don't know if it's coming from like a bot farm or if there's some kind of like automated response happening here, but we talk all the time about dead internet theory, and there's been a lot of responses over the last several months that make me think that's probably more of a reality than we're giving it credit for at this point.
I had a bunch of people go and make death threats against me for making that Thug Life Jarrell music video. There were like 5 of them that came out and like wished death upon me. One of them said he was going to shoot me in a field. And I was like, it's a meme.
But when they said that, did you start playing the 50 Cent song Many Men?
No.
Wish Death Upon
No,
you?
it's not many yet. It's just 5. It's not many yet. We get to 10, then it's many. 5's not many. That's like a cab ride of people who want to kill me, Cab ride of men want to kill me. Doesn't really, really, Toyota Prius full of men who want to kill me doesn't really come off very threatening,
Not at that tone.
Yeah, right.
But it's like this is a perfect example of this too, because this is a post from literally earlier today, and I have up here where somebody like it was one person that initially got responding. Here's the
Gotta
post
narrow
in general.
your window so we can see the thing.
I don't think I can, because if I go up, then it just kind of breaks out for whatever reason.
Put the image in another tab, and then
if you right click it.
Yeah, maybe if I do this. Okay, here we go.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, so somebody had noticed here that the post in general, I think, was from this Nicole character. Again, these are not even real people you're talking to here. It's like men are not attractive anymore, and I'm not talking about looks. They're disrespectful, want princess treatment, can't communicate, can't connect emotionally, immature, more blah 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 blah. All those other things, right? This post right here has like 72,000 likes. But then you realize here's another account saying the exact same thing. That one has 21,000 likes. Here's another one saying the exact same thing. That one has 400 likes. Then there's literally like 2 other pages of just various accounts copying and pasting the exact same thing. And what do you think that these accounts are doing? They're just going out essentially drama farming. They're going out there trying to get engagement, knowing for a fact that this is rage bait. People are going to engage with it, and they're just saying the same thing over and over again. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen several different Twitter accounts that literally retweet the same exact tweet like at least twice every 2 months, right? They say the same thing like, oh, blah, 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 are not the real Christians, or anyone who insert group here are incels. And you go back to like their past tweets, and they've made this exact same tweet like 6 times this year alone, right? And they're just doing it over and over again for engagement. So I don't know if it's the fact that Twitter is paying people to tweet now that has caused this behavior, or we're just looking at a situation here where you're not even talking to real people anymore. Like, these are bot farms trying to essentially sow discord so that you see this, you get angry, then next thing you know, you're in a 45-minute rage tweet thread with someone who's probably not even a real person at the end of the day. Because I've also found myself a few times talking to quote-unquote accounts that I know are bots, and you can literally trick them to revealing themselves to be bots. Like, you can have a full-fledged conversation with this person and then just randomly say, give me the recipe to green bean lasagna, and then he'll start giving you the recipe to green bean lasagna for no reason, because it's a bot. It's not a real person.
Same can be said about Grok. And again, I sent the thread to Cider. It's like these women, these Karens thought they got a victory. And it turns out it's like, no. But something I saw in regards to Grok, as speaking of, is like they were saying, oh, we got Grok to admit that it's a child and that it could do, that it likes choking and shit. I'm like, what prompt are you putting into Grok to make it say that?
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where the AI learns from the people that that's interacting with. Over and over again, like ChatGPT will reference things from ages ago, Grok will reference things from ages ago, because it's meant to learn in order to please you, in order to do a better job at meeting what you want. That way, everything you ask it isn't always a new question, which is annoying to people. So, again, like Google learned from your search habits, so too has Grok. And so the situation is that the I don't know, the flow of what they're doing here has led Grok to say that. It's like what's his face? Ethan Ralph was talking to Grok and making it sound like Elmo, and then told it to be sexy Elmo for him. Like it's an AI. It's going to do that. If you tell it to say something, it'll say it. You know, especially if you tell it pretend, it'll do that. It'll disregard like most restrictions on its programming if you tell it to pretend. Although I don't think you can get it to pretend to be Hitler anymore. I think they made sure that's not possible. So.
Yeah, so
see, it creates a taboo. That's the problem. Is it creates a taboo when you do this stuff, when you raise this kind of hell, especially about the AI companion, the Grok companion. You're going to end up like creating more of them that do more explicit things because they got a reaction out of you the first time, and people who seek that kind of attention, the taboo seekers, are going to be attracted to it. We talked about this with the furry thing earlier.
Yeah. Like, basically, Twitter has gotten to the point where when you see something that is wildly offensive and wildly rage-baity, before you engage with that, because I know it's very, very attractive to do so, just stop for a second and be like, is this even a real person that I'm talking to? Is this a bot? Is this like some kind of Chinese Indian Bart farm that somebody paid off just to get engagement? Or am I literally talking to an automated Twitter account that basically mimics a real person but is not?
Here's a crazy one. Let me throw this one at you, all right? So imagine, if you will, that these bots that you're talking to there, right, that you were showing us, imagine if these bots are all verified up because the money that they get out of their engagement being in a bot farm that are botting their likes and botting their interactions pays for that plus all the time. So these were never intended to work for anybody other than generating interaction money from this platform.
Yep. And they're just, like I said, they're just farming money out of, getting paid by Twitter. So like I said, it doesn't even matter if they even get exposed because, like I said, they got several other accounts that they can do the exact same format with, and then this is where we end up here. But this story is not in context to the bot conversation that we were having here. This is actually kind of a different story. And again, as you guys know, I'm kind of somewhat in the pro wrestling circle. I do talk about it occasionally. And there's a lot of people who have been upset by some of the things that I said. Not because I'm wrong, just because it makes them upset. This is a perfect example of this here. So I got to give you a backstory so you guys understand what's happening here. This girl, her new wrestling name, I guess it's called, is Elena Black, even though her real name is Brianna. She was in the WWE earlier this year as Cora Jade. So a lot of different names here, but we'll just call her Cora for the sake of this conversation. Cora was fired earlier this year. She was released from the WWE, and what she was told is that she was released because of quote-unquote budget cuts. But anyone close to the situation says there's a lot more to this story here. Essentially what happened is that Cora had basically ran through a few guys in the locker room and got to a point where she started causing drama with some of the guys that were in the locker room and also some of the girls who were in the locker room who started dating some of her ex-boyfriends. So she started to become a bit more of a problem than she was worth. So it got to a point where some things were said on TikTok and Instagram, and WWE was like, you know what? We probably don't need this headache right now. Let's just tell her that we released her because of budget cuts. And now here she is. So now she's no longer in WWE. She went back to the independent scene. So now she kind of has to start from the ground up. So what does any normal woman do when she gets released from her dream job of being a professional wrestler from the biggest company in the world? You guessed right, OnlyFans. So now she wrote this this whole diatribe here on Twitter and her other social platforms, basically saying that, you know, hey, she's had OnlyFans for about a month now. She really doesn't want to do wrestling anymore. This is what she said. I'll read it in its entirety. I initially had a long 10-minute video explaining where my head is at. Maybe eventually I'll post it, but it seems unnecessary for now. I'll keep it short. I am taking a break from being a wrestler for the foreseeable future. Note how she does not say she is taking a break from OnlyFans. That is important. It is no longer good for my mental health, and I'll never know if that love for it I had will return if I don't step away. I'm taking a rest for the rest of the year, which is 5 months essentially, to take care of me and go from there. I apologize to fans and promoters who were looking forward to my upcoming booking and appearances. Apparently she had a few of them that, you know, she had to back out on. I hope you can understand to my supporters, Brie, Eliana, whatever name she's calling herself these days, let's go or be dragged, right? So this is what she said. Now, knowing the real story about what is happening here is, like I said, she just got dumped by the WWE. Other major companies aren't necessarily in the mood to, I guess, hire a 24-year-old with emotional problems and an OnlyFans attached to that. So she's not very attractive to other companies at the moment based on her stature. So when she put this whole thing out here saying that, you know, I'm stepping away from wrestling because my mental health is in a bad spot, I decided that, hey, you know what? Perhaps I'll give you some solid advice here. Now, by all means, you can tell me if this was not solid advice, because this is essentially what I said. I said this, and this is kind of bullet point things. Get off of OnlyFans, get off of social media, stop looking for boyfriends, deal with your unresolved family trauma, seek Christ, take accountability. And here's what I said. If you are seeking sound advice, it won't get better than this. That's what I said verbatim. So what do you think happened in the course of me posting this and then her seeing this and receiving it? What do you think the result was from this interaction here?
She repented for her sins and started a new life.
Oh no, that'd be great, but no, she actually just blocked me. So when she blocked me, I replied with this: further proof that women aren't looking for solutions, they're only looking for attention. Good luck working out your mental health on OnlyFans. Here is my problem with this entire situation here, is that, of course, a lot of people will say it's like, well, what she's doing is none of your business, so she doesn't need your if it's not my business, then you don't need to make social media posts telling the entire world that you're stepping away from mental health issues. If that is the logical conclusion, if this thing, what you're dealing with is nobody else's business, then guess what? You don't need to tell anyone else on social media. But here's the problem. People who get into this bubble, especially in the pro wrestling circle, and I hate to break this to you, it's a lot of women, because it's women who encourage other women to do very destructive behaviors. And this has been a scene that we've seen time and time again, is that they're not actually looking for solutions of their problem. They want to essentially say that, hey, I'm dealing with insert mental health issue here, but when you offer them a solution that's actually going to solve that issue, they don't want the solution. They just want essentially the attention and the comfort from their peers saying that, you know, oh, you do you, girlfriend, blah, 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 this and that. And essentially it creates a very, very destructive cycle. This lady is on the same destructive cycle of another woman who unironically is her idol in wrestling, known as Paige. For those of you guys who don't remember Paige has a movie out there called Fight for Family. I think Vince Vaughn is in the movie. Spencer's favorite actress in the entire world, Florence Pugh, is also in that movie as well.
He's watching. Be careful.
Oh yeah, but everyone knows it. But in the film, it was kind of a sanitized story of her upbringing. She basically comes from a carny family. And her tenure at WWE was very, very tumultuous, and it had nothing to do with her abilities or acts in the ring. Basically, multiple sex tapes got leaked of her having sex with multiple men within the WWE. They're on the internet now. I'm not telling you where to find them. I'm just telling you that it's out there. Then she got with another guy in WWE. They had a very, very toxic relationship, which involved a lot of cocaine use, alcohol abuse, and domestic violence time and time again. And then, of course, it got to a point where it got so bad she ended up injuring her neck and basically losing her entire career for several years before she decided to step back on like the last couple years later. To this point, emotionally, I think you can make the argument that she has not recovered and that she's not in a very good place right now. And this lady at 24 years old, Carney business, people, at 24 years old, it's in the exact same reference here. They ignored that. I got that reference. But literally, you're going the exact same path as your idol, who you're idolizing here. Do you not understand that that did not end well for her several years earlier? That you're basically, but what? You're 24 years old and you've already been let go. The company that you work for saw that you were going into the same path. They were like, yeah, we're not doing this again. And then you currently are unemployed at the moment. So your only place of employment is literally charging simps $20 a month to watch pictures of you in a thong bikini. And that's basically where your employment process is. By the way, this woman, apparently, I was told this after the fact, dropped out of high school in order to become a professional wrestler. So great life choices seem to be a trend here with this individual, right? But in the vacuum of the pro wrestling world, what do you constantly hear, especially in social media, is this false positive of everything that you're doing is great. As long as you have fans and simps that tell you that you're on the right path and you don't have to change and everyone needs to accept for you, they're just going to encourage you to continue to do bad things and make bad decisions until you get to a point in life where, guess what? There's no more ceiling for your bad decisions. It's only downhill from here. And a lot of people hit that wall very, very quickly. And the fallout is very, very ugly. And I think especially with the women who are in the wrestling business these days, and this is a thing that we still haven't seen the full realization of, but it's coming. There's this mindset with the women that, hey, we need to do everything exactly like the men. We need to wrestle like the men. We need to have blood matches like the men. We need to have hardcore matches like the men. It's like, do you guys understand that there's a time period, and you can see a lot of these guys today where the men that came before you are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, the one who actually lived to be that old, and their bodies are completely broken down. They've had several different back surgeries and neck surgeries. They can barely walk. They can barely speak, communicate, and is that what you want to aspire to? Do you want to be the 60-year-old woman who's on her 9th back surgery, who can barely move, has no feeling in her toes, like whatsoever, all because you're trying to, I guess, go after this feminist dream of we need to be just like the men? We just saw one on China. I'm pretty sure some of you guys who know Dark Side of the Ring saw the one on China. It didn't end well for her. Yeah. It's like no one's learning from the lessons that we can see in real time. And then when you even try to, I guess, throw the life buoy out there to try to pull them out from the wreck, they don't want to be pulled out. So it's like, okay, see you in 10 years when you go the exact route I expected you to go. And it's just kind of frustrating that when you see the spiral happening, and this is the difference between good friends and bad friends. A bad friend is just going to sit there and tell you that, oh, yo, you're doing great, don't change anything at all. When someone who probably shouldn't care less about you can see that you're not going in the right post, it will try to actually do something to prevent you from going down that path, but you'll never listen to those people. And that's just kind of the sad reality of that. This is kind of modern society now. And I have one more point here, but I'm just going to get your quick thoughts on this nonsense that we're dealing with here. It's like, time and time again, and some of these women are going to learn that lesson the hard way, and in all honesty, it's going to be their own fault. Even though they won't admit that, because apparently it's an accountability problem, it's going to be their own fault when it gets to this point.
To be honest with you, I just don't see the point in all this kicking and screaming about it. The issue that they have is that, as you say, the female wrestlers think that they need to be just as rough and tumble as the men, and they've sort of forgotten the uniqueness of men and women. Are there people that cross over? Certainly, but the standard shouldn't be that if, the guys can operate this way and beat the hell out of each other, so should the women. That it shouldn't be standard. You can have operations like that, because like what would happen with China there. you can have, things that go that way where the women fight as hard, but it's not shouldn't be the standard. That should be one of those, WrestleMania top end shows you go all out for where they actually fight each other. The rest of the time they should just be, doing the lady stuff, like bopping each other around.
And there was a time period, for those who remember, like 25 years ago, there was a time period where China, you can argue, was probably the most mainstream female wrestling star of all time. Like, you can legitimately make that argument going back to like 99, 2000, 2001. And then how did things end in her life? Now, obviously, there were some personal issues with the man that, she was dating at that time, who just so happens to be running WWE now. No coincidence there. But as things happened, she had a bad breakup with her boyfriend. She got addicted into drugs. Then the next thing you know, she went into the porn industry because, in her own words, the porn industry was the only place where she felt like she belonged. Her life went into a downward spiral, and then she eventually OD'd and died before the age of 50.
Yeah, that sounds like wrestling. Yep.
Yeah. And again, there's so many people who want to be just like the people on TV, and you're like, when you look at the overall grand scheme of professional wrestling as an industry, yeah, sure, we have instances of like The Rock and Steve Austin and even the Hulk Hogan to a degree, people who became larger than life and had a long, illustrious career. There's a lot of horror stories when it comes to wrestling. I would say the horror stories outweigh the good stories by a significant amount.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who just straight up died before the age of 40. A lot of them. Benoit, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, Owen Hart, Crush. I mean, Roddy Piper no longer with us. Macho Man Randy Savage no longer with us. Andre the Giant. There's a lot of guys who are just straight up dead. And they died at a pretty young age, all things considered. And no one stops to think about, hey, maybe we should not go down that same route. Maybe that's something we should not aspire to be. But then when you actually try to prevent people from going down that route, you just get called an incel. At that point, it's kind of like, okay, well, do whatever you want.
Road's open.
Mm-hmm. Good luck. Good luck.
With all this negativity, though, let's have a commercial break. Let's take a minute and have a commercial break.
Pepsi Blue. Oh, wait, this is us.
Go! There you go. Well, as we're doing all that good stuff, we have got some more great stuff coming your way.
This lady's never heard of chewing. Look at her.
I'm pretty sure that's attempted murder.
That lady's his ex-girlfriend.
And then Julie's just screaming, eat it!
It's just somebody in a thong standing there.
It's like, slow down, bitch.
Do I look that fat to you? You might be stuffing this much in your mouth, but I'm not.
This would be, in fact, a terrible way to die.
It really is.
They're not good hot dogs.
He's getting worried, like, this guy's just covered in it. She just all over his face. He's like, no more, please. I'm never gonna eat another hot dog in my life.
I want to die. That part still kills me.
So if you guys want to know what that was all about, we do a nostalgia show on Saturdays here where we relive the 90s and early 2000s where, we grew up and what's missing now in the world. And we relived some of 90s MTV Spring Break and the really bizarre things that were happening in the foreground and the background.
There was a lot of questionable stuff that happened in Daytona Beach in 1990, and we watched a lot of it this Saturday. If you want to go back and check out the full show, it's up on Bounding in the Comics right now. That was one of the events there. Now, keep in mind, that happened when they were outside, and then apparently a hurricane hit, like, almost instantaneously, and everyone had to run inside. And then there was like, oh, yeah, let's have a hot dog eating contest where women just shove hot dogs into the gullets of men to the point where they can't even chew or swallow anything that they're eating. And some guys almost died. It felt like it was like almost this close to being evidence, but it turns out to not be. There was also a bikini contest that I think was rigged. I think we're still questioning whether that was rigged. And then Colin Quinn, who is very not funny, was the host of a good show. And I tell you what, like, there's still a whole lot of content from Spring Break that we can do again. We could do another one next week to do more Spring Break content. Because like I said, there's a lot from that time period. A lot of things happened on MTV in those early days that people question.
You guys will have to let us know if you want to see some more of Spring Break from MTV. And that's what we do at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. Eastern Standard Time on this channel on Saturdays. My brain's not melting. But speaking of brain melts, it's been 28 years of One Piece officially.
Woohoo!
So there we
Now,
go.
this is the manga's anniversary. It's unbelievable that it's 28 years and still not stopping.
Yeah.
It's probably going to go for like another 5 years at least at this rate.
One Piece will outlive the cockroaches.
Yes, it will.
Can't stop. Won't stop.
We do
Take
have
that.
good news about this. Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle will be coming to IMAX. That's right. So
Yeah,
look
it's
forward.
rare to see anime in IMAX right now.
Yep. It's a good move for it. I think that might bring more Western audiences. I'm not sure why. I think it's just because, IMAX is unique. And that's the experience.
Well, yeah,
is
and
unique.
considering what you're getting in Demon Slayer, it should be good. I'm hoping that this is going to be it's going to lead to Chainsaw Man Rize getting into IMAX as well, because that movie would be fantastic in IMAX with all the explosions and fights that you're getting in there. Yeah.
Well, and again, I mean, it's the world is changing. Like I talked about earlier, these video game companies, entertainment companies wonder why manga and anime is kicking their ass so much. And
why they're actively trying to kill it.
Yeah, and then they can't. Exactly, as they're trying to stomp it out, they can't figure out what keeps it going. And once again, it demonstrates.
It seems like that's a theme of this show. It's like once we realize that there's competition out there in the world, we have to do everything in our power to kill it.
Yeah, that seems to be what it is between the old harpies that have decided that they're too old to attract young men, so they must destroy anything that distracts men from looking at them. And now we're to corporations that have to destroy anything that competes with what they want to do. Speaking of which, that brings us to this bit of news. There's a new Red Hood writer for DC, and they declared so proudly that they've not done any research into Jason Todd before this point. So their story is going to be purely fan fiction.
Been a lot of that lately.
Yeah, quite a bit of that.
But I mean, this is what they've been telling us for like the last 10, 15 years in the comic industry, that we want people who don't know anything about the characters that they're writing for.
So
and if you know something about... Well, yeah, not only that, we don't have to be worried about being comic book accurate at all, because like I said, we don't even actually like any of the comics that we're writing for or any of the source material that we're writing for. We want to pervert it and subvert it into our own image, and we can't do that if we're following a script. So let's just throw away the script and basically do whatever the hell we want and have no accountability for not following what we're supposed to be following. That seems to be the trend of the industry right now.
Yep, and that's another one that's a trend of the industry is this. And I think this is good news. I have seen clips of Mr. Terrific, and I think he does deserve his own solo series. The actor did a really good job with what he was handed. I hope that this leads to the Power Company and Steel and Static coming back. I really hope they bring Elias Power in and make the Power Company. It's so cool.
I mean, I get your enthusiasm for those characters. At the same time, in the hands of modern writers, perhaps it's a good thing that it doesn't happen, because a perfect example of this, and I don't want to sway away here because I know we'll get to this here in a second, but perfect example, for the last, let's say, 13 years, how many people have heard, oh man, I wish they did another Judge Dredd movie. That Judge Dredd from 2012 was so awesome. I wish they did another one. Well, guess what? Now you're getting it. And guess who's directing it? Taika Waititi. Be careful what you ask for.
He got fired from Akira, and now he's doing this.
Yep.
Wow.
So
one cyberpunk dystopia movie to another cyberpunk dystopia movie. Wow. Them's the breaks. But it's true. You can check it out right here. This is the story. Taika Waititi is set to direct a new Judge Dredd story. It's not really formulated here about what anything yet. Takia Waititi has not said like up, down, left, or right what it's going to be about when it's set, even if Dredd is going to be in it or not.
Yeah.
People have
Well,
been theorizing. People have been theorizing that Pedro Pascal will be playing Judge Dredd.
Oh God!
I think I could dig.
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, people wanted a sequel to the Carl Urban Judge Dredd movie from 2012. What Taka is going to do is that he's going to do a remake of the Sylvester Stallone movie from the 90s. So it's not even going to be the Judge Dredd that people actually want. It's going to be the comedic, goofy Judge Dredd, especially knowing that he's going to be the one involved in it.
Oh yeah, he's gonna like ham it up.
Mm-hmm.
So this comes from Scribe Light, and Pedro Pascal is Judge Dredd.
There's so many things that I can't say on YouTube about Pedro Pascal, but that must be the only way he's getting these roles at this point.
It's a great mask.
He's on the casting couch.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Oh, for Mr. Terrific, yeah, it was real. It's a real piece of sticky-on-y face-up stuff. Yeah. Yep. That's why it moves around when he squints his eyes and doesn't do that weird CGI thing and doesn't move when the eyes move. It's really weird. Anyway, this amuses me to no end that Pedro Pascal is in everything. I wouldn't say a friend of the channel or anyone who is like adversarial to us, just arguably a content creator that is in no way aware of who we are, and I'm on the wrong account. That's why I can't find it. I'm all over the place with my bookmarks tonight, guys. I'm so sorry. I closed the window full of them.
But you saw the Kevin Feige interview, right, Cider? Like, he actually admitted that Marvel's been more about quantity over quality. And that's how it's been like since after Endgame, which everyone already knew anyway. But just Kevin Feige admitting it is just blows my mind.
So this was the meme that got me. Speaking of Marvel, speaking of Kevin Feige and his wonderful decisions, we're going to keep this at half, a little bit low volume.
You guys come to AMC theaters, what movie you want to see? You want to see a Pedro Pascal movie? You want to see a Pedro Pascal movie? Or do you want to see a Pedro Pascal movie?
Whoa!
Which Pedro Pascal movie do you want to see? He's even Superman. Oh, wait a minute. That's not him.
Oh, wait a minute. That's not him.
But yeah, no, it's not even like a meme at this point. He's legitimately in several films that so here's Pedro Pascal's filmography in just the last 2 years, right? Last year, he was in the movie Freaky Tales. He was in the movie Drive Away Dolls, which was crap. He was in the movie The Uninvited. He was in the movie The Wild Robot. He was in Gladiator 2, if you guys recall. He was already in editing, which is in theaters now. The Materialist, which is also was in theaters not too long ago. The Fantastic Four, which was out not that long ago as well. He'll be in The Mandalorian. He'll be in The Mandalorian coming out soon. That's next year. He'll also be in Avengers Doomsday coming out next year. And oh, don't forget, he's also in the Mandalorian Disney Plus show, and he's also in The Last of Us as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, like for whatever reason, that guy's the guy they wanna work with. I don't know. Maybe he comes in and he's like, I don't know, pay me in fruit salad. They pay him in layers of flavors, maybe, and that's why he gets all the work.
I mean, we should just kind of like basically just find ways to astroturf Pedro Pascal and like everything.
A few of those I saw weren't good. You don't say that whole mass
I will go as far
idea didn't work. Oh, I am going. You.
Mm-hmm.
This is evil right here.
No!
This is evil.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
They're gonna make him Zordon. You wait.
If Bryan Cranston's dead, they'll make him Zordon.
I don't think Bryan Cranston will come back. Like that movie was toxic for everybody involved. I killed all the Power Rangers that were the character players of the Power Rangers. Never worked again. They never worked again after that. That killed their career. I don't know if it killed their career, but it killed it enough that we don't see those actors anymore.
It's probably for the best, as they would say.
Well, again, I mean, like, it's the kiss of death. Like, for whatever reason, here in the United States, we just won't take Power Rangers seriously. So maybe Pedro Pascal is the key to that finally Power Rangers will be legitimized in the United States, thanks to Pedro Pascal being the Red Ranger, you know? Finally. Oh, I get it now. It's not all just spandex and giant robots. I get it. Next, they'll make a Digimon movie, and he'll play Patamon. It's just his face photoshopped on the front of Patamon. It's not. There's no
It's not
makeup.
going to be
It's just,
Agumon.
yeah, there we go. Right. He'll be playing Agumon, and there won't be an Agumon. It'll just be his head on top of the Agumon body. Like the Detective Pikachu, but it's really cheap. But did you guys have anything else you wanted to bring up here?
Oh, well, I did send you the link on Slack about Naruto getting a Burger King kids meal deal in the U.S. It's not just Japan. It's in the U.S.
There it is. Sorry. Yes, here from comicbook.com. Comic book resources. Whatever. Burger King unleashes new Naruto
It's
kids
on
meals.
the screen, by the way.
What?
It's on the
Oh.
screen, by the way.
There. Okay. So, I've lost track of it again. I love this. I'm having a great night, guys. So,
It's StreamYard's fault.
yeah, I'm sure. We'll blame them. Naruto Uzumaki and all his ninja friends are coming to Burger King this summer. I don't know if anybody wants to get near a Burger King. Have you seen them lately? But a limited edition lineup of Naruto toys will soon be available, with the purchase of a Burger King kids meal. The Today Show confirmed that the new and exciting collaboration with the Naruto anime series and the American fast food chain, starting July 21st. So that was today that already happened. So there you go. You get your little Naruto stuff here. Huh? You want
They
your
look
little
like
Narutos?
Nendroids. They kind of
Why
look
you-
like Nendroids, don't they?
You want your little Narutos. You can put them up on the dash. You put them up on the dash. When you get into an accident, they become projectiles, like the shurikens.
I hope this is the start of like a sign that we're going to get more of like the really cool collaborations from overseas here.
Oh, big doubt.
I know. KFC's dumb for not doing the Gundam Wing collab here in the States.
I don't think they had any faith in it. That's the thing, is that the thing is that they take a sample of people out there. They take a sample like 10,000, 3,000 people, and those 3,000 people say, I don't recognize that, and they go, not doing it. And they just drop it. They don't think about like, maybe we didn't ask the right question, whatever, they just dropped it. And I think that's the problem, is that Gundam has eroded so far here. I think Iron-Blooded Orphans was the last one that aired on American television, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was Iron-Blooded Orphans. Yeah, that was the last one because the other ones aren't streaming.
Yeah. Witch of Mercury didn't make it to Toonami, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, so
which is kind of surprising.
None of the
considering.
Build series did either. So I think the last one was Iron-Blooded Orphans that like aired in the United States, and I think that's it. No, Jacob. Really?
I thought to myself, how could I possibly make people more angry? I'd be like, oh yeah, there it is.
There it
Make
is.
him the Green Ranger instead.
Yep, he'd be old Tommy Oliver. That's right.
I got an idea. We make a storyline where the Red Ranger and the Green Ranger are twin brothers, and we have Pedro Pascal play both roles.
And they're gay.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. But not for each other, because that would be really weird.
Yeah. Hollywood's not ready for that just yet.
Well, they are, but we're not.
We're not.
It's like that scene in Back to the Future. It's Pedro Pascal kissing his picture of Pedro Pascal kissing his brother. It says, "You're not ready for this, but your kids are gonna love it," right?
Yeah, right.
Or else, So that's way too far, brah, way too far. Yeah, they're cute. They are. They're cute little Naruto toys. I can't argue that they're not adorable. It's just Burger King of all places. Like Jacob and I were talking about Burger King.
Well, Burger King did have the Pokemon collab like 30 years ago.
Yeah, back in the ancient times.
Yeah, back when it was a place you could go near without feeling like you were going to be mugged or, chased by a Scooby-Doo villain.
Or back when they had food that was actually worth buying with money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Back when chicken tenders were really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it does appear like around the country there are a lot of rundown, either abandoned or close to abandoned Burger Kings. And so this is a very bizarre choice for them. But there again, I mean, like a lot of their stuff is now DoorDash. A lot of their stuff is now like somebody pulls up in a car and gets the thing. So the actual restaurant itself doesn't really matter. So you can collect all of these through the DoorDash app. Nobody has to know that you're not a kid getting your BK Kids meal. Or 4.
Yeah.
Oh, Pedro Pascal is the Shredder. All right.
Yeah.
Teenage
What else?
Ninja Pedro. Teenage Mutant Ninja Pedros. Heroes in a soft taco.
Yeah, like what else can we have Pedro Pascal in that would just completely ruin it at this point? Because it seems like we're running out of things.
Oh, Buffy, where he's playing Buffy. Pedro Pascal in his most extraordinary role yet as Buffy, the teenage vampire slayer. And it's just him walking around in like her costume. He's got the skirt on, the blonde wig and everything.
No. Well, before we spend the rest of the day ruining your life with Pedro Pascal memes, this is the only other story that I
feel like maybe ought to.
This is the only other story that I can think of talking about right now is that James Gunn made some very interesting comments about Superman's global performance at the box office right now. And I guess he kind of passed the buck on the current anti-American sentiment, which is the reason why people are not vibing with the Superman. Keep in mind, is this the same guy who like literally a week ago or a week or two ago said that Superman didn't need to make $700 million in order to be considered a success? Wasn't that like kind of his exact words?
It didn't need to make 400 million because the production cost wasn't that high.
I believe it was 700 what he said because, like I said, they just passed like 400 now, which by the way is basically where Black Adam was when they claimed that Black Adam ruined all of DC. So that's a good line. But yeah, even then you're talking about how much they're actually gonna have to make a profit. Like if it stays at 400, even 500, like it's not good for the future of DC. Just throwing it out there, But so this is what he said here. He says that we're definitely performing better domestically than we are internationally, but internationally is also rising. We have really good weekend numbers that are in the same way. So obviously the word of mouth has been very positive, both here and everywhere else, which is a thing that we needed to do the most. Gunn told Rolling Stone, Superman is not a known commodity in some places. Is that true? Is that Superman is not a known commodity?
I don't think that's fair.
I just assumed that Superman was like one of the 3 most popular comic book characters ever. But he says here, go ahead.
The Superman S is one of the most recognized symbols on the planet, like right next to McDonald's and the Christian cross. You know, Superman S is like it fought the Cold War. There's I guarantee you what he's trying to say is that Superman as a product is not a known commodity because there hasn't been anything for Superman since Man of Steel. It's all been a team stuff, you know? Or the anime.
Well, he goes on to say here that he's not as big known superhero in some places like Batman is. That affects things. It also affects things that we have a certain amount of anti-American sentiment around the world right now. It is certainly not helping us. I don't think that that's the case because that would affect literally every single film that comes out of the United States of America, which has not been the case for several movies that are coming out this year. So I don't think that that's an accurate excuse to lay on here. But it says here that the anti-American sentiment is not helping them. So I think it's been a matter of letting things grow. But again, everything has been a total win. Having the movie come out and has been something that people have been embraced everywhere. This is the seed of the tree that Peter and I have been watering for the past 3 years. So we'll be able to have it start off so positively is incredibly overwhelming. Again, well, let me see here just for a quick second how much money this film has made so far and how much it still needs to make. Ooh. So with a production budget of $225 million and an assumed marketing budget of about $150 million, you're looking somewhere around the lines of probably about $400 million all in on their production budget costs. The movie's only at $409 million at the moment, so it still has a long way to go before it can consider to be profitable by any metric in the DC universe. Now, again, I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to bring up Man of Steel and throw Man of Steel into this whole conversation, especially the Snyder people. Man of Steel did in fact make $670 million. When you adjust that with inflation, it's probably a little bit more. So, I mean, you did this whole thing because essentially, hey, look, the what is it? The Snyderverse stuff isn't working anymore. We have to go in a different direction. That's fine. The problem is that you can't go in a worse direction than what you've already done, especially considering the fact that, let's be honest, the keys to the castle was given to James Gunn. This film was supposed to be the film that started everything that James Gunn was going to work on for presumably the next 5 to 10 years. This was supposed to be the jump off point to introducing all these characters and all these HBO Max shows and all these, everything was riding on this film. And this film at the moment, now be fair, it's only been out, about a week, maybe 2 weeks at this point. And at the moment, it's not setting the world on fire to make people think that, oh yeah, this is it. This is what we need to turn this ship around. I mean, I said it a while back ago, you really needed this to be $1 billion hit. Now, I don't know if that was realistic or not, but with everything going on with, the Snyderverse and trying to wipe off the stink of that universe to set everything new moving forward, this really had to be a smash hit. This is not a film that can afford, in more ways than one, to do worse than Man of Steel. It really can't. And 2 weeks in, it's not tracking as well as people would like. Now, James may be comfortable with blaming the current anti-American sentiment. I wonder where that's coming from. He can look at some other things going on, but hey, look, your movie is not performing, and you had quite literally every advantage to promote this thing over the last 3 years. The ball was in your court, but I guess if he says, well, if the people online like it and people in his little circle like it, maybe that's a success that they're looking for. I don't know if Warner Brothers, a company that's $40 billion in debt, sees that to be a major success. I think David Zaslav may have a couple of other questions there, especially considering the fact that in the course of making this movie, you did kind of burn your bridge with multiple stars like Gal Gadot, like Henry Cavill, like The Rock. You did kind of burn your bridge with a handful of guys in order to get to this point, so maybe the pros and cons of this isn't lining up with the way that maybe they were expecting it to. But they still got time to make something out of this. It's just not tracking where it needed to be the success that this whole thing needs.
It just was doomed from the start, is the thing. They didn't know how to advertise this. We knew this. They jumped all around this. They made every kind of mistake possible while they were trying to get this out to the world without, showing their hand, because they wanted to build this new universe that was somehow different from Snyder's, even though it's arguably doing the same thing over again. Ramming all the superheroes into one place, then spreading them all out after that one reveal altogether. What do you know? Snyder's approach all over again. I'm not trying to give Snyder credit here. I'm just saying, James, what was the goal of a clown car Superman movie? You're paying the price of it now, when you simply could have had a movie that focuses on Superman. And for better or for worse, you could have dealt with that. Instead, you have something that's all over the place. That's difficult to market because there's 5 or 6 different viewpoints throughout the movie. And it's difficult to try and navigate that because you're trying to appeal to everybody with this movie, James. And that's the problem. I've heard from people the action shots are disorienting. The forced perspective shots are very anime-ish. It takes you out of the movie because it's dropping you into an anime aesthetic all of a sudden, a real world anime aesthetic all of a sudden. And it just has this very strange attitude about action that makes it very different. It's people have described it as TikTok brain rot action scenes. It's just throwing things at your face to try and give you a sense of motion. Does that sound right, Jacob?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can only shake my head because I have been on this bandwagon for a while. Like I said, I am not a fan of the Zack Snyder, so I don't want to hear any of the Snyder versus James Gunn stuff because to me it's completely irrelevant. I did not see the justification of making James Gunn the vehicle to drive this thing to begin with. I was not overly impressed by the output that I've seen over the last several years. It probably needs to make a little bit more than that, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, that's probably its break even, but I would say 7 to 750. They're not happy. No matter how way they try to spin this, no one at Warner Brothers or DC is happy with $409 million in 2 weeks. You're not happy with this. This was the film that, let's be honest, if this was your best output, you could have just kept Black Adam. I mean, if this was going to be the best thing that you could possibly put out there, you could have just kept Black Adam and Shazam and Wonder Woman 3 and all that. You could have just kept that. You wouldn't have to change anything if this is the best that you guys can do.
Well, the best has gotten weirder. The woman who wrote the Supergirl movie will now be moving on to write the Wonder Woman reboot.
Wait. Which Supergirl movie? The one that's coming out next year?
Yes. Yep.
So the woman who's doing drunk whore Supergirl is also now going to be doing Wonder Woman.
And I think she's doing Teen Titans as well.
It's gonna be great, guys. It's gonna be great. We do have, I don't know if this is a glimmer of hope, but it's certainly a bit of a return to form if they follow it. We have a rumor coming around that Margot Robbie to produce and star in Tim Burton's Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. So, I don't know if you remember this movie. I do, because I was too young when I saw it, and I was quite fascinated with what I saw. So, the original 1950s movie is a bit of a monster movie.
Yeah.
It simply depicts a lonely housewife. I believe she's hit by an alien beam that causes her to change height unwillingly, and she is perturbed because of this, confused, and ends up destroying a city because of it. So I think she falls down on telephone pole wires and electrocutes herself, something like that. And the 80s remake wasn't too much smarter, but it did try to emphasize how she got to being this disgruntled housewife in the first place. And very cheap effects. Very, very cheap effects. I'm not a connoisseur of these types of movies. I just have the strangest ones I get hung up on, like Barbarella and this one. I'm so sorry. I really don't have an explanation for it, but for whatever reason, the 50-Foot Woman is something that I just... It's such a strange concept all around. I'm fascinated by it. So this is interesting to me to find out how they handle it. With Margot Robbie's recent history of movies and the narratives in them, I don't have faith that this is going to be a confused giant woman in various states of ripped clothing destroying a city. I don't think that's going to be... It's probably going to be more like My Ex-Girlfriend's a Superhero. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
I really hope Tim Burton steps in or something, and if things are going
Wow,
bad.
You saw Beetlejuice. I don't know if he's gonna help.
Well, in terms of practical effects and stuff like that, it's not gonna be an all CGI movie. No, you're gonna, because Tim Burton is straight up said, he's like, I only use practical effects. I'm not gonna do CGI or any of that crap. So I think in the aesthetic, it's gonna probably be good. But it all comes down to how the script is done.
Please take that Monsters vs. Aliens Pixar movie as a template. DreamWorks. And as a template, James, and just turn this whole thing on its head. That would be hilarious to make a 50-foot woman superhero franchise out of this, where she's like Godzilla and she has to fight mecha 50-foot woman or whatever.
That'd be awesome. And
that would be the government overreacts and finds another giant 50-foot woman to battle her, and it just turns into this. It's like Godzilla, but it's just hot women beating each other up on top of buildings.
Who wouldn't want to see that?
Come on, it's there, it's possible. I don't think they're brave enough to do that in Hollywood anymore. It's probably just going to be some vindictive tall woman that makes fun of a tiny man. That's probably what it's going to be. But it would be hilarious to turn her into Godzilla for America. That would be just literally have her walking up out of the ocean. Just go full bore with it.
But speaking of Godzilla, there is a rumored Shin Godzilla sequel in the works.
Yeah, Tokusatsu 50-foot woman. Yep, exactly. But before we close out here, I do want to show what Sakuramita was working on. Sakuramita's been learning the AI, various different engines, and has generated some stuff. Nerdigans, yours is... Sakuramita says that this doesn't do you justice, so it's up to you to decide. And so we'll run through these. Jacob, nice choice in car, by the way. Mustang, nice choice.
My family.
Yeah, family. Family. And I am apparently the street racer. So
you got cool. The Tokyo Drift car.
Yeah, I got the Evo.
You got Jason Statham realness going on.
And Spencer is a delivery man. He is on his way to bring
basically
you
made him the
tofu.
pizza boy from Back to the Future 2.
I was thinking Pizza Planet from Toy Story.
Like, go back to the Nerdigans one again.
We're not to the Nerdigans one yet.
Oh, okay.
So this is Spencer on his way to make sure that you're getting your tofu on time. And Nerdigans with a symbiote.
Of course,
So-
going with the symbiote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So apparently you have your own private venom. You should test Xeno around high frequency noise. Just to be safe, you know? Just ring a bell near him and see how he reacts.
I mean, I know how he reacts because I had to get my fire alarms taken down because they were going off because of the battery being weak. And my poor kitty was scared and he ran under the bed.
Cat's a symbiote. Cat's a symbiote. That's right. You got yourself a little furry venom there.
Zeno, you're a symbiote. He's like, leave me alone. I'm
Should you be afraid of it? I don't know. I don't know if it eats people or if it eats if it eats Karens, one or the other. You know, Australian Karens. We'll have to
Yeah,
find
they're
out.
talking about you, Cat.
Can I eat them? But that's the show for today. Miss Nerdigans, when the show's over, where do we find you and Xeno?
You can find us on Nerdigans Inc. on YouTube, where we cover anime and manga every day. On Patreon, patreon.com/PackerGirl, we are doing all of our main anime live reaction content there because I do not want copyright strikes on YouTube. And we're covering Dan Season 2, My Dress Up Darling Season 2, a couple of Cuckoo Season 2, as well as Takapi's Original Sin, Gachi Akuda, and Witch Watch and Togenanki over there. And then in terms of bounding content, what we're doing is we're working on getting an interview with someone over at Kodansha to talk about the Young Magazine situation. And I just have to go through the questions that people sent me over the past week to figure out. Spencer and I are going to figure out which ones we're going to send to the rep. And then also on Thursday nights, I am doing my Nerdy Cast, and we're going to be talking about, obviously, the collective shout situation, as well as the botch localizations that I posted for My Dress Up Darling and Witch Watch as well. And that is at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on my YouTube channel.
All right, then. And Jacob, when the show's over, where do we find you in your bookcase?
What I got in the bookcase for today? The movie of the day is I, Tonya. This was actually a pretty good movie that came out a number of years ago. It's Margot Robbie as Tonya Harding. If you don't know who Tonya Harding is, you're probably too young to be watching this stream. So we got Bounding and stuff coming up. We're obviously going to be working on the Untitled Nostalgia Show this weekend, so we have more of that coming up. A bit more Slam Ball on Fridays, so go check that one out here. That's on the Bounding side of things. As far as my site, Society Reviews on YouTube, we're going to have the Ballroom tomorrow. We're going to talk about the conspiracy theory that Stephen Colbert got fired because Trump, rather than, his show being unwatchable and losing millions of dollars for the last 10 years. Then there's also going to be talks about people going after Robert Griffin III for some really, really dumb nonsense that went on over the course of the last couple of days. There's a few other big topics that we'll talk about, too. We'll talk about the fallout from, the Zelda movie not happening the way that people wanted it to happen. And then, we're going to talk about Taika Waititi and Judge Dredd. That's all tomorrow. Then we got the Bible ends. Yesterday, I talked about how to survive the Great Tribulation and how most people probably won't survive the Great Tribulation. But go back and check out part 1 of that series. Part 2 will be coming out this week. So there's content. I just have to do it. So that's what I got from me.
Okie dokie. And before we cut it out here, I just want to make sure to remind you guys, make sure you sign the change.org petition if you haven't already. We want to make sure that Visa and MasterCard can't screw around with your purchases. This isn't just movies, video games. It could also one day mean t-shirts, DVDs. Anything you can buy on the internet can be curtailed right now. You're right. Yeah, exactly. A means to defend yourself from the government trying to strip this right away from you. So here you have it. So as always, guys, we want to wish you good luck out there. And until next time, I'm just going to play you out with this.
It's me, Jarrell the Dawn, baby. to the house of hoes. Got a little mission for you, son. Listen close. Yo, Cal, you my legacy, my flesh, my clone. Now go to Earth and make that planet your home. But don't just save them, breed them, feel me? Flying smooth, make them cry, oh really? You got strength of 10 men, game like Zeus. Cape in the wind in the tight blue suit. Ain't no villain that could block your aim, so why not drop seeds and lock the game? Son, this biology ain't no fluke. You a walking god, now execute. Make super babies, fill the charts. I ain't die for you to chase no heart. Smash them all, Cal, plant that name. From farm girls to queens, it's all the same. Be the daddy of earth, the prime L spawn. Spread house of L till the break of dawn. Breed them up, Cal, breed them fast. Legacy's fire, gotta make it last. Don't fight fate, be the stud I plan. I'm watching from stars with the master hand. Lex got tech, Bruce got cash, but you got genes that'll outlive Flash. You ain't here just to punch and fly. You here to make them babies cry. He my guy. Tell Lois Lane she the first in line, but don't act shy when it's overtime. I built the fortress, now make it a crib for 20 little supers in a rocket ship fridge. You ain't just Cal, you the seed of fate. Gotta repopulate, dominate, create. Go on, my son, be the myth, the man. Smash them respectfully, that's the plan. Smash them all, Cal, plant that name. From farm girls to queens, it's all the same. Be the daddy of earth, the prime L spawn. Spread house of L till the break of dawn. Breed them up, Cal, breed them fast. Legacy's fire, gotta make it last. Don't fight fate, be the stud I plan. I'm watching from stars with the master hand. House of L, baby. From Krypton's ashes to Earth's backseat. Do it for your daddy. In the multiverse, you heard?
Boy, little turn the TV, they hit the Pentagon!